Elkart Lake, Wisconsin. It's a popular vacation spot in the Midwest, but in the motorsport world, this lush green locale means big speed at America's National Park of Speed, Road America. This track boasts the wonderful features of yesteryear's courses as it offers the ultimate challenge to today's athletes. There is simply nothing like it in North America. We're ready to go here at Road America.
700 horsepower, it just spun up on him and turned him around.
Awesome performance yet again from Scott Dixon.
Eighth winner, congrats.
Alex Palou has won at Road America.
Joseph Newgarden has done it at Road America. Oh, what a great day to go racing. Here in the state of Wisconsin as NBC Sports welcomes you to IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. When you think of Wisconsin, what do you think of? Farming, maybe the Green Bay Packers, cheese curds, Bratwurst sausages? Well, we think about motorsport. We think about Road America. Hi, folks. Welcome to round 8 of the series. Apologies for my croaky voice. Been dealing with it all weekend. Lee Diffie along with Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe. Hinch, this is a special place for the drivers.
It really is. I mean, this is one of the most iconic racetracks, not just in the country, Townsend, in the entire world. And drivers love coming here. It's like Disneyland for these drivers. Happiest place to drive an IndyCar, it's right here at Road America. And this track has received a bit of a facelift. First time since 1995, the complete track has been repaved, and that's thrown a couple wrenches in the plans for these teams and drivers. We've seen big speeds, we've seen big consequences from mistakes, and I think we're going to see a lot of action here today, Townsend.
Yeah, it's Disneyland for the drivers, James, when they're driving one lap by themselves, but in about 25 minutes, this will turn into the Thunderdome. Total insanity inside the concrete walls because this new pavement has generated massive grip. That makes the drivers want to take more chances, they push harder, and if they don't get what they want, they get frustrated, and that's when things get interesting. And we've seen a lot of drama already this weekend. Just look at the kind of weekend Will Powers had in the number 12 Verizon car, trying to make a move on Romain Grosjean to the outside in practice. Grosjean having none of that, drives Power over onto the grass, and things would get even more crazy for Will Power. This is in qualified. Scott Dixon, boom, right across his bow. Practice for qualifying. Dixon could not see Power. Power thought it was intentional, and number 12 gets out, and he is furious, pointing at the 6-time champion's face and threatening, you do that again, and we'll end up in the parking lot.
We're just pissed what Dixon did this morning. It's just ruined our whole weekend, and just a terrible move all up. Disappointed with what happened, really disappointed. And Grosjean is a piece of crap. If you saw what he did in practice, he needs a punch in the face.
If you needed any reminding about how intense, how competitive the NTT IndyCar Series is, it's right there, front and center. Hinch, we've documented time and again how intense a competitor that Will Power is. He's a 2-time champion, he's the reigning series champion, he's an Indy 500 winner. Did he step over the line there, or that was justified?
Look, what happened was a clear mistake, and Scott Dixon put his hand up immediately, but I do understand that frustration. In the moment, the heat of the moment, you're going to get out of the car, you're going to want questions answered, but I think once the two of them got the chance to sit down and talk together, they each realized the part they played in it. Scott put his hand up, took responsibility. I think, as you can see, all is good now between the two.
I know you liked it.
Oh, I loved it, but I think Will Power's smile right here this morning says it all. He has a very short memory. He's a focus-forward kind of driver. Look, he's laughing about it like he's back home in Australia getting ready for a fist fight with a Kiwi. Will Power is a special breed. I think he'll show us what he's made of performance-wise today.
All right, let's get you up to speed with some of the weekend's headlines after we show you the weather. I came on the air and said what a beautiful day it is. In the low 70s, there's a light breeze at the moment, so it is perfect to go racing here at Elkart Lake. How about Alex Palou? He has won 2 of the last 3 races. He's the points leader by 51. That's more than a full race victory. That hasn't happened since 2020. Who's chasing him? The last 2 Indianapolis 500 winners, Marcus Ericsson and Joseph Newgarden. And how about the front row that we have for you here today? It is Colton Herta, his 10th career pole position, and his old Indy NXT. Indy Next. teammate in Pato O'Ward right alongside him. But let's go right to the top. Let's go to the pole man. He's with Dylan Welsh.
That's right, Diff. It's been since Long Beach in April since Colton Herta has qualified inside the top 10. So they've got that part of it figured out this weekend. The results this year, though, have been a little bit harder to come by. So with this track position today, how important is it to capitalize on that and get a good finish to kind of get your season pointed back in the right direction?
It definitely makes our job a little bit easier than the last few weeks. But, you know, I think it's important that we've moved forward in every single race since then and improved on our starting position. So hopefully we can continue to do that and really just not improve, but keep it up front today.
We've talked about so many of the different variables today about what can make this race challenging. For you in this 2016, what are some of the biggest or perhaps the biggest unknown as we get set to go for 55 laps?
I think tires. It's very strange that, you know, it seems like some guys think the black tires are faster than the reds and vice versa. You know, we've been very even on both sets, which I've never seen in my IndyCar career. So it's going to be an interesting thing. They do seem to deg differently, but to what degree is still kind of unknown. So it's going to be big discussion of, you might see some guys try to 4-stop if their deg's really bad. I imagine most of the leaders will try to 3-stop, hang in there with the tires and make it to the end.
Colton Herta has 4 top 5s here, still looking for that first Road America win and looking for the first win of 2023. He'll do that from the pole today. Kevin Lee.
Dylan, we are enjoying this lovely day, the grid walk up to the front of the grid, which is a good place for Pato O'Ward to be. It's been treacherous this weekend for every series that's here. So how do you approach turn 1?
How do we approach turn 1? Survive it, bro. You want to get through it, and you want to get through not just 1, but 3 and 5 and all of them. You know, there's been such a step up in grip this year with the repave, which they did a phenomenal, and it's really been a joy to drive. But off of that grip is gnarly. So you don't want to be there.
You have been so close to a win 3 different times. The last 2 weekends have not gone very well. How much pressure is on you to get a result?
Not pressure, man. We're flowing.
All right. Pato O'Ward's going to start second today, looking for win number 1 for himself and Arrow McLaren this season, Diff.
Well, Kevin, it's been feast or famine for the Arrow McLaren driver this year. I mean, he has been a regular championship contender. He's got so close, and that theme runs true this year. What's he got to do to get that breakthrough win this year? He's had 3 second places.
Yeah, it's been kind of checkers or wreckers in terms of podiums or crashes for Pato O'Ward. I don't believe this is no pressure thing at all. He's under, every IndyCar driver's under pressure in every single session. Pato O'Ward is one of the fastest guys in this series. He has a fast race car today, but he has to not make these kinds of decisions, low percentage passes that end up with contact with other cars, angering drivers that are got it out for him, or putting himself on the wall, like he did at the Indy 500. Here's Pato O'Ward shoving it right up the inside of Marcus Ericsson. It doesn't work out. Heavy contact into the turn 3 wall. And then last race, Detroit, forcing his way through on Santino Ferrucci. It goes all wrong again. So 3 bad races this season for Pato O'Ward, and it's when he finds himself in just the smallest hole, he gets a little desperate, he pushes too hard. Pato has got to consolidate things back together. He's 5th in the championship. And right behind him, his teammate Alexander Rossi is gunning for his first win this season.
But right beside him on the grid is Colton Herta. And Colton Herta is having a phenomenal weekend, though not without some struggles. He's had some issues in practice. We've seen this car off. We've seen it around. We've seen some killer saves, one in qualifying as well. The battle between these 2 into 1 is going to be interesting.
Yeah, he showed great resilience yesterday and great speed as well, so will be a storyline today. But the big storyline is Alex Palou. Will he continue to dominate this championship? I mentioned earlier that he's won 2 of the last 3. Well, the last 6 races in succession, the Spaniard has not finished outside the top 5. This guy has his mojo going at the moment. Does it continue today?
I think so. He's my pick to win this race. You know, he seems to really excel when tires are an issue. He's really good at saving, conserving, making them last. We've heard Colton Herta say we don't know what the Reds are going to do. I think it's going to be a problem for a lot of drivers starting in 3rd. But for me, the pace that he's had throughout the year, 51 points in the lead. At this point in the championship last year, there were 5 drivers within 51 points. Now, there's just this guy right here. He is absolutely on a roll.
I totally agree. What does Alex Palou do better than any other driver in this series? carries right now. He manages his emotions. His temperament is the reason he won a championship already in his young career. It's the reason he kept it together at Detroit for the win. It's the reason, again, he's starting up front. When things get challenging, this guy always seems to have a level head.
And guess where he won a race in his championship winning year? Right here at Road America. So will he do it again today? Alex Palou has been the picture of consistency and speed this year. So we'll see what he can do here on this 4-mile monster. The drivers love coming here. As Hinch mentioned earlier in the show, it is repaved. There's great vantage points all around this place. And yes, I know it's called Elkart Lake, but there's even a faux beach here. Look at that. There's the fake palm trees. There's deck chairs. People can just chill out there, and that's actually in a good spot. It's watching the cars go tails away through the kink at over 180 miles an hour. So a very cool spot indeed in this summer camp for race fans, so to speak, on a beautiful day here in Wisconsin. Look at that. The grid is packed, and we are ready to get things going. So why don't we turn it over for the pre-race ceremonies and get a little bit closer to cranking this one up.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the City of Sheboygan Fire Department presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Chaplain Jason Holt of IndyCar Ministries offers today's invocation.
Father God, we thank you for the gift of life and for creating such a beautiful place to have a racetrack. God, we lift up each one of our brave servicemen and women serving abroad and within our borders, guarding and protecting our freedoms to gather and pray like this today. And so, God, we lift up our drivers, teams, safety personnel, and these great fans, that we would have a great, smooth, and safe day of racing. But most of all, we say thank you for the abundant love available to all through the cross of Jesus Christ, in whose name I pray. Amen.
Here today to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome local performing artist Anton Pietenpol.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
It is a perfect Father's Day weekend. And the reigning Indy 500 winner, Joseph Newgarden, is one of those to watch. The reigning winner at Road America. We'll talk about him and much more coming up.
Well, it is a beautiful day for racing in Road America. Has been a weekend filled with some drama and excitement already. No major drama for Alexander Rossi and this 7 Aero McLaren team. but they have had perhaps the fastest car all weekend. A couple small issues in qualifying have them starting 5th today. It's been a solid start to year 1 for Rossi driving for his new team, but they're ready to take the next step. That's winning races. He told me earlier this weekend their speed this year has been good, but they're not as strong as they can be. That's just going to come with more weekends working together. He dominated to win here at 19, was strong last year. This might be the place that these two put it all together and take that next step towards victory lane, Kevin.
Dylan, I'm not sure that anybody in recent years has been better here at Road America than Joseph Newgarden, the most recent Indianapolis 500 winner. Also won here last year. Second time he's won. Probably should have had a third time as well. What's going on in Joseph's world right now, it's still the Indy 500. Yes, it's the gift that keeps on giving, but he's a very regimented person. He likes his routine, and he's still not quite back into the training routine, the home life routine, the prep that he does, but he's as good as he can be. Starts 4th here today. He told me just a few moments ago, I don't think the car has outright pace, but we've got a few things up our sleeves that still might be able to get us to victory lane today, and big uncertainties on how the alternates are going to last. What a crowd here today. What a day. And we've got the command coming up next from Road America in Wisconsin. You're watching IndyCar Live, brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
Ready to go for a new racing season.
Huge accident. More damage in the back. The track is total chaos.
Inches between cars at 200+ miles an hour.
They almost hit.
Oh!
Kyle Kirkwood is your race winner.
You just won the Long Beach Grand Prix, buddy. Way to go. Let's go, Ron.
Oh, inside. Scott McLaughlin wins. Let's kick off the month of May here at Indianapolis.
They fan out 5 wide.
This is the Indianapolis 500.
Oh, no.
Bring her home, buddy.
Joseph Newgarden finally wins.
Finally! I started out as a fan in the crowd. In this place, it's amazing.
Will we get through here cleanly? We will not.
Both are behind.
Alex Palou wins. Oh, it has been a fantastic season, and we welcome you to round 8 of the 2023 NTT IndyCar Series, the Sonsio Grand Prix, here at Road America on a gorgeous day in the state of Wisconsin. Let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command for the Sonsio Grand Prix at Road America, presented by AMR. Please welcome the Vice President of Financial Insurance for Premier Truck Group, Dave Worth.
Happy Father's Day. Drivers, start your engine!
Plan has been given.
We love that sound each and every race weekend. And look at Alex Palou, clenched fist. The championship leader's ready to go. He's being chased by that man there, Marcus Ericsson. And right before the engines got fired, Michael Andretti, the legend, firing up his driver, Romain Grosjean, to try and work his way through from the back of the field. Cars on track. We are not too far away from the start of racing here in the 8th round of the series in Elkart Lake, Wisconsin, Road America. Let's take you right now, though, to the Sonsio starting grid. And you see the front man there, the NTT P1 award winner, the pole position to Colton Herta, 10th time in his career. He's had an amazing record at this track. This is his 6th start, and 4 of them have been from the front row.
Yeah, look all the way back there to row 10. You've got 2 Frenchmen with Romain Grosjean frustrated with the qualifying results. Simon Pagenaud, former champion, looking to make some moves. Meanwhile, let's go back to the 4th place starting driver, Joseph Newgarden, and see if we can get him on the radio. Hey, Joe New, it's Townsend in the NBC booth. You got me?
Hey, copy. A little staticky. I think I got TV asking about me, but yeah, it could be a tough day. You know, feeling really good about this PPG car with Team Chevy. A lot of questions going into it with tires. I think we've, you know, put our best foot forward, but ready to go to fight with these guys, and hopefully we can have a clean day.
All right, well, good luck to you. We're looking for some big moves.
We know how well he performs here. All right, Hinch, let's go to the Honda track preview. Talk us around.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talked about it at the top of the show. This is an absolute favorite for drivers, and it's easy to see why. 14 turns, a little over 4 miles, longest track that we have on the calendar riding on board here with Graham Rahal. That's up through turn 6. This flat-out kink in qualifying turn 7. But obviously the hot points here
Brake zone into turn 5, great passing opportunity. Brake zone into Canada corner, turn 12, great passing opportunity. And then where Graham's coming up to right now, Townsend, this is the carousel. This one corner is 1/3 of a mile long. That's an incredible length of time for the drivers to be under G-load, for the tires to be stressed. That's longer than an entire NHRA drag race.
Yeah, and over 10 miles an hour faster minimum speed than it was last year. Tons of grip available today with that new pavement. Thanks to Honda for the track preview. But we'll be watching this front row diff. Herta and O'Ward, young, fast hands, huge aggression.
So you bring up a great point. Extra grip, higher speed. What about the physical toll? What about falling out of the seat, as drivers like to say? Who's going to be physically fit enough for this new challenge?
No, we don't know. Nobody's done more than about 8 laps consecutively this weekend because of red flags and focus on qualifying setup. A lot of answers to play out here over the next 55 laps.
By the way, championship leader sitting on that second row in the blue and white cup, the American Legion Honda. Indy 500 winner flanks him and Joseph Newgarden. But 2 of the youngest stars of IndyCar make up this front row. This race is going to be special. By the way, the papaya, the orange and light blue car back on the 3rd row, that's Alexander Rossi. You better keep an eye on him as well. This is the Sonsio Grand Prix here at Road America, and Colton Herta is doing a great job at controlling the pace of this field. Ready to go racing. Let's go. Herta lights it up. Newgarden pulls out. Here comes Palou on the inside.
Watching Palou and O'Ward in row 2 there, side by side. Palou will have the advantage. Does O'Ward try to hang on and ride the outside?
He told Kevin Lee, I just got to hang in there. I just got to hang in there. There's a spinner. Kirkwood around.
No grip on the outside of turn 1, and Kirkwood just learned that lesson.
They're going to leave it green for now, let some of this racing play out. Lots of side-by-side action. We've heard the drivers talk about how bad it is offline. Let's see what happens with this huge draft down to turn 5. That's Santino Ferrucci, I think, getting forced off the track.
He was looking to make a move on Felix Rosenquist, I believe, or was that Pato O'Ward? That was Pato O'Ward that got shuffled all the way back to 6th.
And how about Devlin DiFrancesco moving his way up there in that blue and pink car? Nice work from the young Canadian.
Kyle Kirkwood desperately wants that yellow to come out to try to get refired and stay on the lead lap. But right now it's all racing down into turn 8.
And this is good news for Alexander Rossi. He has what I think might be the fastest car this weekend. He got unlucky in qualifying. His teammates now behind him, and his team can help him forward as Roman Grosjean's also starting to push. This is cool. Road America's long enough that the AMR safety team might be able to refile Kirkwood before the field comes around, but they need to hurry.
And you may have seen in the background at turn 6, David Malukas going off there. In the background now, the full course caution flies.
Oh, it was close. There goes Kirkwood. But good decision from IndyCar. You can't leave the safety officials there if you think it's going to be on the margin. For Kyle Kirkwood, this is what happened on board.
So you got Joseph Newgarden there to your right. He's got clean air in front of him, but you know that the outside is a little bit slick. Oh, he gets into the back of Pato O'Ward. That's why Pato lost so many spots and just spun as soon as he got offline. So just a little bit of a misjudgment there on the brakes from Kyle Kirkwood. Pato did a good job to hang on to it.
Really good job. Unfortunate for Pato. He was being conservative, just riding his way through. And for Kyle Kirkwood, he's entering a big void of dirty air and just got in too deep as Michael's got to shake his hand. And look at Santino Ferrucci with Pato. This could be under review. You cannot move in reaction to a car pursuing and making a move from behind.
Yeah, you saw the orange and black car, Pato O'Ward pushing that black car off of Santino Ferrucci. 3 wide into turn 6. We saw that was Scott McLaughlin that's kind of started that, but then Benjamin Peterson getting forced out onto the grass there. That's too bad. He had a great qualifying performance from the rookie. That's a tough break.
First time in 5 years that AJ Foyt Racing has had both cars in the Fast 12 on a road or street course. So awesome performance there. Let's check in with Dylan Welsh. Dylan?
Well, hey, just remember what happened to Kirkwood at Detroit the last race. Kind of some deja vu. Had to go to the back for some contact. Able to charge his way all the way through the field, ultimately to finish 6th at the end of the day. It may be harder to do that here just with some of the variables and the unknowns, but if anybody can lead him there, I think it's strategist Brian Herta. So he's got a lot of work to do. It's early on, which is maybe the only blessing of this.
Okay, so you use the word strategy as we look at the strategist for the 27, Brian Herta, but let's look at what this does to the tire strategy. We saw for, I think, the first time that I've ever seen, certainly, but maybe ever, all of the drivers in the top 10 start on the primary tires. We've never seen that before. What this does is it really helps those drivers that started on the primaries because they can push this stint that little bit longer, so when they switch onto the alternates, you can shorten that red stint.
Or what you can do if you're Kyle Kirkwood
We're going
is
to give you sticker red.
pit here.
And,
That's what I was going to say.
We'll as long as we can and see what happens.
I like this call. Put him on sticker reds because it'll shorten this first stint on reds. He can finish on blacks, or it gives him an option to run long. I think at this point you got to do something different.
Okay,
unless 10 cars pit in front of him, and then you're going to be yelling, "Stay out."
Well, so I'm looking at 23rd, 24th, 25th. Those are the last 3 drivers that are running on the alternates right now, Hunter Ray Harvey and Stingray Robb. Do they come in, get off those reds, and commit to essentially a 4-stopper without really losing any track position?
Kevin, you're down there on pit lane. I think the call should be watch what happens in front of you, and if a bunch of cars dive in, stay out.
Well, it's an easy call if you're in the back, and this is working right into the hands of fast cars like Scott Dixon and Will Power, starting way in the back. They want to be done with those reds. They might decide to use them later on because they have an extra set of stickers, but they're coming in. Grosjean is coming in. Felix Rosenqvist coming in.
Big chance, big opportunity for those guys at the back. Colton Herta kind of fades, and then...
we're going to pit, Kyle. We're going to pit. Pit. We don't want to take a chance here. Let's get those red tires on.
That's the voice of Brian Herta for Kyle Kirkwood.
There you go, the McLaren into pit lane.
Look at this. See all these cars coming? Gosh, I think if you see that, if you're Kirkwood, you really might consider staying out. But Brian Herta's made the call, and he's won a lot of races on strategy, and it's getting crazy on pit lane as they break for the line.
Kevin Lee.
So we'll spot him as we see him coming in. Easy call, as mentioned. If you're in the back, I see Felix Rosenqvist coming in. Scott Dixon, Romain Grosjean are coming toward us. Will Power as well. These are quick cars. Remember that Scott Dixon car, massive crash. Kyle Kirkwood in the spin we see coming in. As Brian Herta said, we want to get rid of these alternates. Felix Rosenqvist is the first off pit road. Everyone is on primary Firestones to top off, so we've got an extra strategy involved in play now.
Look at this mad scramble off pit road, and that involves Ryan Hunter-Ray here at the BitNile.com Chevy. Ed Carpenter Racing. Yes, Captain America is back. He has tag teamed Connor Daly and is in this ride now for ECR. Had a pretty eventful day yesterday in qualifying and did not qualify where he would like to. He was right at the back of the field as he gets comfortable back in road course racing in IndyCar, and we're going to take you back to the start of the race and show you what went down, particularly in this left side column.
This was a really slow, controlled start. You see some brake lock up there. I think that's Graham Rahal, and that meant Rosenqvist had to, jump to the outside. Graham Rahal over the back of Devlin DiFrancesco. When you have those slow starts, Townsend, you can have that checkup effect.
Especially because everybody's riding throttle and dragging brake as who was
Jack
that?
Harvey. Jack Harvey may be getting an earful from race control. Yeah, that, I mean, based on him getting out of the throttle, you can pass before the line. You can pass as soon as they call green, but you cannot pull out of line, out of your column until that green command comes.
What if someone stops in front of you and it was unavoidable?
Well, yeah, but you can't then benefit by getting by 3 rows, I don't think.
What are you supposed to do, just slam on the brakes?
No, you lift off the throttle and go back behind.
You're going all the way to the back anyway. So if you're Jack Harvey,
take the
risk.
risk.
Go for it, take the risk. What's the worst that can happen?
Hey, you two, look at me. It's lap 3 of 55.
Hey,
play nice.
Put your ruler away. I know you used to be a school teacher. Don't pull that thing out.
All right, we're ready to get going. Again, Colton Herta in the Gainbridge Honda at the front. Look at Marcus Ericsson and Devlin DiFrancesco.
Again, you can pass as soon as the green is called, so that was a move into the final corner. But guys, look at Marcus Armstrong. We hadn't talked about him, up from 8th to 3rd. Now he's all over the back of his teammate Alex Palou in the white and blue car. You see the green car of Armstrong to the outside. What a run.
Yeah, Palou's not letting him get through that easily. Newgarden and then Rossi. Devlin DiFrancesco really doing well here today. Qualified in 12th, moved up to 8th before that yellow.
There's Christian Lundgaard going in front of Alexander Rossi. That is a pass for 5th or 6th.
And now Pato O'Ward's making a move on his teammate. So Pato O'Ward ahead of Rossi, now down to 7th. As car 7, you can see him pop out there in the blue and orange car, trying to get him back into turn 5. Late on the brakes. Pulls the move off.
Not for long. Let's see if O'Ward tries to cross him up. He tries, but he had to check up before he got to the back of his teammate. All the way at back, you see 2 wide with Scott Dixon approaching treacherous turn 6 right here.
Scott Dixon, Romain Grosjean, and Will Power. These guys have all had issues together so far this weekend.
Remember, Will Power said yesterday Romain Grosjean needs a punch in the face for something that went down in practice, and Grosjean knows that. They almost come together.
That's going to let Scott Dixon, go by. There he is in that blue and orange PNC Bank machine. Will Power, big understeer now.
He's got to be careful. Very little grip offline. If you get just an inch over too far to the left, Will Power's discovered already you are in the grass and the gravel at high speed. Great run through the kink for Power. Absolutely sending it. And look at the benefit here.
Yeah, a little bit of a lift from Scott Dixon, but outside is tough to pull off in the Canada corner.
This is where they crashed yesterday and crashed hard. Dixon and Power. Big miscommunication. Dixon came across his bow. No contact that time.
Hey guys, message from race control. Pato O'Ward has to give up 2 positions for the initial start and his conduct on that start.
With Santino Ferrucci.
Look at Lundgaard chasing Joseph Newgarden up the front straightaway. Lundgaard up to 5th and pressing. Impressive performance for the driver of the 45, the Vivid onboard here. Rahal Letterman-Lanigan. It's been a very up and down season for them. Huge struggles at the Indy 500, but on the smooth road courses like the Indianapolis Grand Prix circuit and here at Road America, Lundgaard strong and strongly on the button with his left thumb on push to pass.
Yeah, now that the push to pass is active, he's going to try to go the long way. It's not likely to work. Joseph Newgarden elbows out, pushes him off the track completely.
Hip check into the glass.
Oh, and that's Alexander Rossi goes by Christian Lundgaard. And now he's under threat from Devlin DiFrancesco, who's up to 7th.
Rossi is on the move. Herta, Palou, Armstrong, Newgarden, then Rossi. We told you at the start of the race to watch Alexander Rossi. Here's Newgarden and Lundgaard.
It's an aggressive turn in from Lundgaard. I like what he did, but yeah, that second hit there, right rear to left front.
Take another look at the incident that created a penalty for Pato O'Ward. He's in that orange and black number 5. Santino Ferrucci in the black car is going to draft up, pop out to the outside, and Pato O'Ward
he just drives into him.
Yeah, that's at 170 miles an hour. So 2-spot penalty is mild.
Yeah, I think it's probably he has to go back behind the car that he caused the infraction to. So there goes Santino Ferrucci and Pato filing back in line. Those two still running lockstep.
So it's the pole man, Colton Herta, who leads the way and has led every lap thus far in the Gainbridge Honda, with the championship leader in pursuit. You're watching USA's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Sonsio Vehicle Protection, official partner of the NTT IndyCar Series race here at Road America. Shell, renewable race fuel, is powering progress. And by NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. Welcome you back. Off to a pretty interesting start here in this 55-lap race here at Road America. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe with you. Every lap has been led by this man here, Colton Herta, looking for not only his first win of this season, but the first podium. So there's been a little bit of extra pressure on this young man. Signed a big contract renewal in the off-season, but has yet to see a podium through the first 7 races. So time is now. Today is the right time to deliver for this Southern California guy, being chased down by the Spanish star and championship leader Alex Palou. And how about the 22-year-old Kiwi in the bright green car, Marcus Armstrong, 3rd.
Spectacular start for Armstrong. He looks comfortably on pace, managing fuel and tire behind his more experienced teammate Alex Palou. But he's shown all season that he's capable of this kind of performance, and he's been quietly watching and studying Kevin, and he's putting all of that information to good work today.
And remember, he's the Ganassi driver that didn't get a test here because of a rookie, and this rookie opportunity. That shows the confidence that they have in his feedback, that they based all their setups on what Marcus Armstrong did here. And you get a sense of how talented he is, because as good as it's gone, he's 17th in the championship ahead of 10 veterans that have done all the races. He's not done the 2 oval races so far, but I sense he wants more. A couple of 8th plates is not enough. He expects to be fighting for podiums, and today he is.
And I think you see the top 3 comfortably running in their own little bubble of air, not pressing too hard at this point in the race to try to close on the car in front, which is only going to disrupt the aerodynamic purity, if you will, of the race car's performance and then rely too much on tire grip. They're going to use clean aero if they can and let those tires run as long as they can. Kyle Kirkwood coming from the back.
Yeah, a little bit of housekeeping here, guys. He's had to drop several positions for avoidable contact. We're on board with Pat O'Ward. This is lap 1, turn 1. Watch what happens. Boom. That's Kyle Kirkwood into the Arrow McLaren driver. And race control said, nah, that's not allowed. There was a self-penalty there, but it also affected O'Ward's race. And this was Will Power during the last commercial break.
Oh, man, so close to losing control right there, and a massive hit to the bottom of the car.
And then right in front of him while this was happening, Agustin Canapino just gets a big tank slapper in the middle of that final corner, turn 14. Bit of a trip, but looks like turn 3, Felix Rosenqvist maybe?
Still running, no damage seemingly to his race car.
Yeah, there it is. We saw Joseph Newgarden have an issue there. I think maybe Scott Dixon as well in practice. We've seen issues everywhere throughout practice, Townsend, but
wonder if he had any help getting there. Look at this little cross-up move from Simon Pagenaud making a move.
Rosenqvist was fresh from a podium in Detroit 2 weeks ago. So he'll get back on track and try and make up for lost time.
Rinus VeeKay there in that blue and white number 21 direct supply on that car with Scott Dixon right behind him. Let's take a look again at Felix Rosenqvist.
Rinus VeeKay on the inside. Boom.
That's an easy call for race control.
There's the help you were talking about.
Now, if you're an official, you're going to watch this and say, did Rosenqvist block? I don't think I saw anything to suggest that. No, that's just VeeKay forcing it. That should be an easy, avoidable contact penalty.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, when you've lost that position in turn 1, I understand the urgency to try to get it right back, but just didn't have the momentum, didn't have the space, and unfortunately has taken Felix out of a good run.
Well, for Felix, it was unfortunate. He was the best runners of those to stop on the caution. He was up to about 13th at that point, so that's kind of a brutal result. The penalty does nothing to help Felix get back to where he was running.
So, in a very rhythmic pattern at the moment, nothing too much has changed. Herta, Palou, Armstrong, Newgarden, Rossi, then Lundgaard in 6th, Pat O'Ward, Devlin DiFrancesco, Ericsson and Ferrucci. You're watching USA's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Hy-Vee. This racing season, you can help Hy-Vee reach their goal of 100 million meals by visiting Hy-Vee.com. United Rentals, official equipment rental services provider of IndyCar and Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. Fifth Third Bank, official partner of Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. This is banking a Fifth Third better. And by Sonsio Vehicle Protection, official partner of the NTT IndyCar Series and Road America. And there is a Sonsio vehicle on track. It belongs to Scott McLaughlin of Team Penske, and Scotty Mack and the Thirsty Threes are on the move. He is up 9 positions from where he started and is flying. This is Romain Grosjean, the Delaware Life Honda.
That looks like turn 3 again. I wonder if there was help once again.
And his car is stalled. I can tell by the body language, the visor's up as the hands collapse on the steering wheel, and an already challenging weekend for Romain Grosjean goes straight into the sandbox.
Now we're still
lap 12. This puts us right in the pit window. Oh, he dropped his left rear right into the grass on approach.
Unforced error. Nobody else around.
He said we saw that out of a couple drivers throughout practice. Just trying to use every inch of the track limits.
Telling you about Scott McLaughlin on the move. This is Scotty Mack on Santino Ferrucci getting a little physical.
He pulled it off eventually, but this is what we're seeing here is the Reds versus the Blacks. Giving him a little wave on the way by, Scotty Mack. But this is what a lot of teams would have been paying attention to. But now the pits are open, and the 26 is in the pits, Dylan.
Yeah, everybody trying to get in before a potential yellow here. Colton Herta, race leader, going to hit his box first at the entry to pit road. Not said too much about the balance of the race car. They take blacks off, put another set of sticker primary Firestones on for Herta. Kevin.
This does not work into the hands of most of the field that was on primaries, but helps those that were on alternates that were ready to come in. We watch Alex Palou, who has the pit out, the most advantageous pit section coming in. He's going into another set of primaries. Those are red rims, but they're still primaries. Herta's going to win the race off pit road. Marcus Armstrong in a drag race with Joseph Newgarden, and Newgarden is going to have that spot. Alexander Rossi comes out 5th.
And the caution flies, second one today.
Kind of surprised that I'm not seeing a lot of red tires go on, as there's been an issue again for Kyle Kirkwood on pit lane.
Just take your time here, guys. Take your time.
Wonder if he missed his pit box.
Get the car in the pit box, get the starter.
Is there contact maybe? Car was in a weird spot. Yeah, maybe he did just go past it though.
Or maybe somebody else was pulling out. That's Alexander Rossi in a box just behind him.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Rinus VeeKay again.
Check this close call. This is Marcus Armstrong. He was fighting with Joseph Newgarden, and that was Simon Pagenaud.
That could be an unsafe release call. Yeah, that could definitely be an unsafe release call. So could Rinus VeeKay get called for unsafe release.
Oh boy, that could undo Marcus Armstrong's race big time. We will wait and see. Stay tuned on that. Colton Herta still in a very commanding position here at Road America. You're watching USA's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by GetRefunds.com. See if your business qualifies for an ERC refund today. Hy-Vee, this racing season, help Hy-Vee reach their goal of 100 million meals by visiting Hy-Vee.com. Custom Entertainment, we're not just passionate about entertainment, we helped define it. And by Ego, the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power equipment.
Absolutely beautiful shots of Elkart Lake, Wisconsin and Road America. You know, every year that I come here, I frankly don't want to leave. I always think to myself, what a great place to live, raise a family, and most importantly, to enjoy the sights and sounds of IndyCar.
Do you know how many people live here permanently? Less than 1,000.
937.
Less than 1,000, and it swells to over 50,000 or more during race weekend. It's incredible. And its most famous resident, our old teammate,
David Hobbs.
Our old Formula One on NBC teammate, the Hobbo, lives here, well, part-time anyway, and has done for so long. Boys, there are some big movers in this pack. Scott McLaughlin, Scott Dixon, Helio Castro-Neves, they've each made up 10 positions. So that's a phenomenal move, and the highest of them all is McLaughlin, who sits in 8th place at the moment.
Now,
so
we saw some chaos on pit road, definitely under review, a few different incidents, but let's just check back in on the review of the 21 and the 6, Rinus VeeKay and Felix Rosenqvist. There is no action being taken, no avoidable contact. And Dylan Welch, we're looking at the bright green, vivid RL Elkart, Christian Lundgaard. What do you know about him?
Yeah, you certainly can't miss that car. It's a brightest race car on the racetrack. So earlier we saw those close contact, close quarters racing with Joseph Newgarden, and you'll see the replay here as they come down the hill into turn number 5. Lundgaard was not all too pleased that there was not a penalty issued here as well. This was his response on the radio.
So you're aware, turn 5 with Joseph was reviewed with no action. No action? Correct.
I don't mind that at all. Listen, you're Lundgaard, you're pushing it on the outside of the line, you're taking a bigger chance.
He's ahead of him at the apex,
Who cares? You're on the outside line. I mean, if you're Newgarden, it's such an easy thing to control. Look, he leaves him room right there. Lundgaard had a choice to back out at that point, but just chose to stay with it. The one I don't get, James, is Rosenqvist and VeeKay.
Yeah, I agree.
VeeKay, but I think should have had a penalty for avoidable contact in that situation.
Yeah, I agree that Newgarden and Lundgaard won is a racing deal, but yeah, for sure the distance from which he came, it was left rear to, or left front side to right rear. It should have been a penalty.
Kevin, what's going on with Will Power?
Just topping off. That's the 4th stop already. He came in on lap 2 and topped off. Pit stop with everyone else, topped off again, and it's not ready to go green. Top off one more time, and a top off means more here on a 4-mile track than it does others. He's now in the normal window. Everyone else pitted a little bit earlier than we'd like, so he won't have to save any fuel.
Take a look at this one.
Great move.
On board with Rosenqvist.
Great move by Rosie to do the over-under there, and then...
I mean, how is that?
I mean, it's front wing. It wasn't even left front to right rear. It
That's
was end fence to right rear.
We've seen penalties for so much less than that. I mean, that... That is a late lunging dive, and to your point, it's like front axle to rear axle.
I mean, not even, it's front wing. Yeah, that one's surprising, but yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know what to say.
Unless we're missing some critical piece of information.
Hey, Dylan, what you got?
Hey, so Pato O'Ward rides 7th right now. They've got a rear bar issue, which is affecting the handling of the race car. Just can't get the understeer out of it. They've made some air pressure adjustments, a wing change, but they're battling that right now for Pato.
You can see the right hand going down, but that would be the front bar adjustment. Oftentimes, you've got to try to unload the suspension and unlock the bar, but must be a bigger issue than that for Pato O'Ward.
All right, get ready. Let's go. We're going to go racing again. Marcus Ericsson there looking racy in that red and white Husky Honda. Who's off track? It's Jack Harvey.
And does he, oh, wow.
Nothing he could do there because he knows if he stops, he's dead in the water. So he's trying to stay in the throttle, but he could not get it turned as the cautions wave once again. You know what I'm saying? Harvey's thinking, I'm in the kitty litter. I gotta lean into it and see if I can rotate the car on the throttle. And once he decided it wasn't working, it was too late.
For not being up to pace, though, I'm surprised at how far he made it in. Yeah, you see he's got the engine running, but he is buried. So let's ride on board here. Listen. Wow. Yeah, just, man, once you got offline there.
There was a little bit of contact with the car ahead. And from that point on, Jack Harvey in the My Jack Honda was a passenger. What a shot that is. The colossal complex that is Road America. The attention to detail and care at this venue is just first class. And of course, we are racing on a brand new surface. First time in some 25 years, more actually than that since it's been resurfaced. Want to tell you about what the NTT IndyCar Series drivers and their teams have on the line when they compete for more than $1 million in the People Ready Force for Good Challenge by being the first driver to win a series race on 3 different types of circuits, the oval, street, and a road course. And here's a look on your screen at the season standings. Remember, it was here last year, T-Bell, that Joseph Newgarden clinched that bonus $1 million.
It's a pretty sweet little reward. Alex Palou, the closest to getting it done, but he'll have to wait till later on this summer as more penalties coming.
Yeah, this is Rena's VK. Unsafe release. Kyle Kirkwood had to take evasive action. And he's not the only one to get an unsafe release penalty on pit road. Marcus Armstrong got one as well. That was a close call. Here is the Armstrong one involving Simon Pagenaud. Pagenaud hits the skids as hard as he could to avoid the Ridgeline Lubricants Honda.
So Armstrong was given a 1-position penalty. He gave up that spot to Alexander Rossi, so he still runs 5th.
Excellent job from Mike Shank spotting for Pagenaud there. You could tell that Pagenaud was getting a warning from Shank on the pit box about what was about to happen. And that makes all the difference in the world. Simon Pagenaud, nice job so far today, up to 13th. It's been a tough season. He had a good, strong run at Detroit, but it's a heads-up situation like that from your spotter on the box that can make a world of difference.
He got to go home last week to France and race in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, as did Scott Dixon as well. Let's head back to the pits. Let's get an update with Kevin Lee on Will Power. What's happening, Kevo?
A little more clarification on why there have been 4 pit stops. So the 4th made some sense, but the reason we got to that point is the 2nd stop, they did not get fuel in. So that's why he gave up a little bit of track position from 18th to 23rd, actually to 25th. And then once you're back at 25th, they went ahead and topped off one more time. But they are in a little better fuel situation than others, but a long ways to go. Now, meanwhile, the top 8 are on primary Firestones. The first on the alternates, Marcus Ericsson. Brad Goldberg, his engineer, simply said, we've got to try something different. We're going to see if this works. It's going to be difficult to make it go the entire stint because they've not been lasting. But these yellow laps are helping them being able to make their fuel number and stay on the same strategy as everyone else. Maybe watch for Ericsson on the softer, faster tires to make a couple of spots up on this restart.
Yeah, this is really great for the 8 team because, like you say, you're going to have that kind of preferred tire for the restart. They're going to have more grip early on, those softer red sidewall tires, but at the same time, you still want to see more cautions because the more caution laps you can run, you're mitigating the amount of laps you have to run under green and stopping these tires from falling off. So this could actually be going the way of the 8 team.
You saw a quick shot there of his strategist, Taylor Kyle, on the box of the number 8 at Chip Ganassi Racing. Want to say congrats to Taylor and to his wife Katie on the birth of their second child. And we say happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I'd like to remind you that you've got a chance to drive away with a Corvette courtesy of Hy-Vee and Gatorade. All season long, you can enter for a chance to win one of 4 Corvettes. Simply grab your mobile device, scan the QR code that you see on your screen, and enter. And we wish you the best of luck. Hey, Kev, what's going on at Scott McLaughlin's camp?
So I think the yellow might have hurt him. I think Scott thought that as well. Radio is trying to tell him differently.
Surely it helps fuel-wise. Yeah, no, it just makes it so, it helps everybody, but it just makes it so we can have I think we got a pretty good car, so it makes it where we could use it. Yeah.
Scott McLaughlin got a nice boost this weekend. One of his childhood heroes was New Zealand racing legend Greg Murphy, a 4-time Bathurst 1000 winner. And Murph surprised him by turning up here at Road America with a group of fellow New Zealanders. So that's lifted his spirits. He didn't qualify all that well, but he's been racing well. And speaking of racing, let's get back to it. Green flag flies here at Road America, and watch that bright green Vivid car of Christian Lundgaard. He's incensed that Newgarden didn't get a penalty. He's on the attack.
He's on the attack for the other green car of Marcus Armstrong. You see them weaving down the straightaway, trying to break the draft. Marcus Armstrong's going to have a run here on Alexander Rossi into turn 1. Not late enough on the brakes to make it happen.
I thought we were going to see a Talladega bump draft with the two of them going past Alexander Rossi in 4th, but no, Lundgaard backs off now. Lundgaard has a challenge coming from Pato O'Ward in the other orange Arrow McLaren.
2 super talented young drivers who came from the world of Formula 2 in Europe, and they have made their home very effectively here in the NTT IndyCar Series.
Oh, here comes Armstrong, pops out on Rossi. Who's going deeper on the brakes?
Armstrong's got it in that Ridgeline Lubricants car. Rossi with the switchback couldn't do it.
Nice job.
And there goes Devlin DiFrancesco by Marcus Ericsson. So the guys that red tires, Santino Ferrucci now on the inside of 6, no grip on the outside. That's another spot to Scott Dixon. He's lost, now being challenged by Pagano.
Oh, Pagano and Ericsson come together.
Wonder if that right rear got cut down by the wing contact. It looks like it's intact.
Up. Big block there. Benjamin Peterson got in the way of Stingray Robb to prevent that move.
I don't think it was a block as much as an offensive move against Pagano. Great driving from Benjamin Peterson, late on the brakes, and Stingray Robb head up to not get into the back of the 55.
Frantic opening lap on the restart here. Colton Herta still in command over Alex Palou and Joseph Newgarden.
See a blue and gold car. That's Ryan Hunter-Reay making his IndyCar return. He's looking pretty feisty behind Helio Castroneves.
Had an unfortunate incident in qualifying, found himself in the tire barriers right here in turn 14, but doing a great job in the number 20 BitNile.com car, running up in the 18th position right now as we see Pato O'Ward now on Christian Lundgaard. We see Dixon in the background on Santino Ferrucci. The blue and orange car gets the move done.
Boy, Pato O'Ward's on the attack. Here is Ryan Hunter-Reay as well. So Hunter-Reay grabs that position very effectively from Kyle Kirkwood.
I think Kirkwood had passed Hunter-Reay, and then Hunter-Reay making the move back. And 21 laps into this race is more action at the front. Here comes Armstrong looking at the outside of Newgarden. That didn't work last time somebody challenged Newgarden to the outside in 5. It was Lundgaard, and he got shoved off.
How about this is the best we've seen Marcus Armstrong race at the front of the field. We've seen him put in some excellent performances, but it's been kind of around that top 10 zone, not knocking on the door of a podium. This is an awesome run.
It's a great drive from the young New Zealander on board with the mission on board of Alexander Rossi, watching that battle up ahead.
Rossi's got a nice run going here. He breathed it at just the right time in the carousel. Let's see how he does through the kink. It looks like Armstrong's hanging on. Rossi had to pedal it, though, in the dirty air. 193 miles an hour, 195, and he gets on the hard limiter. They are flying into Canada corner.
We got to remember Marcus Armstrong in the draft with Joseph Newgarden was getting helped along. I bet Newgarden was on the button. As we look at this Firestone telemetry, you see Rossi pedaling it through turn 13, down a couple gears here for turn 14, and now this blast up the hill down the front straight.
Speaking of on the button, push to pass, 200 seconds available of extra boost. There you see the seconds remaining. How do you like to beat Colton Herta?
Here we go. Here we go. Rossi thinks about it on Marcus Armstrong into turn 1.
Man, that 2-car draft is huge, Townsend. He was not on push to pass there. He just sucked right up to the back of Marcus Armstrong in that green Ridgeline Honda.
So Pato Award was able to get by Christian Lundgaard. Lundgaard's looking to respond.
And you know what I see looming in the back? Like every chaotic race we've ever had in IndyCar.
Scott Dixon.
The orange and blue, the PNC of Scott Dixon, up 14 positions since the start. He is a master of staying out of trouble in crazy races and methodically moving his way forward. And you know Chip Ganassi has fast race cars today. Dixon, one to watch in the second half of this race.
Look at McLaughlin too, 2 cars back. That's Sonsio Chevy. He's ahead of fellow New Zealander Scott Dixon. There he is right there.
And nobody's breaking away, guys. This draft is really keeping everybody almost nose to tail. It's a great little pack we've got running, but it's Ericsson that's falling back on those reds. Let's go on board Simon Pagenaud side by side with Dixon into 5. Just ran a bit wide.
And running wide for Marcus Ericsson right here. And now Pagenaud's going to try to thread the needle, and he just gets clipped.
That was on that restart lap.
He had to go for it, though, Townsend. He had to go for it on the outside there.
I got clipped by Ericsson.
He did. He absolutely did. Ericsson just trying to stem the bleeding from that incident going off in turn 5 and turn 6. But that cost Pagenaud a ton of track position. And now Alexander Rossi firing back on Marcus Armstrong. He's got the draft off Newgarden.
Well, he thought about it on the inside on the previous lap, so he decided to go the outside that time. Here comes Alexander Rossi. Beautiful move, and now defends into turn 3.
That was a great experienced call from Alexander Rossi. Marcus Armstrong going to defend, got himself out of the draft. Alex said, thank you very much. I'll sit here on the back of Joseph Newgarden.
Here comes a very feisty Pato Award drafting up on Armstrong. Armstrong has a draft on Rossi. How's this going to play out?
Tucks back in, and now Award thinks about it on the inside of Armstrong.
Meanwhile,
speaking of Palou, Newgarden grabs second and contact with the championship leader.
Wow, I did not see that run coming. Great save, though, from Alex Palou in that blue and white car in second on your screen there, the number 10.
Newgarden throwing picks and blocks and shoulders and elbows like he plays offensive line, muscling his way forward. But I say again, good hard racing right there.
No, absolutely. I just didn't think he was that close. I didn't realize he caught up so much to the back of the 10. Maybe tires starting to come into play here.
Newgarden head down. He wants to make up those 2 seconds and go start messing with Colton Herta, who's been leading easily today.
That's exiting turn 5, coming up the hill to 6.
He did get into him a little bit there, but
Palou got wide in the previous corner, had trouble getting the traction down. Advantage went to Newgarden. And if one thing has been demonstrated today, if you let Newgarden to the inside, don't expect he's going to give you any favors in the brake zone. He'll leave you just enough to get yourself in trouble.
3 cautions today for 7 laps. Biggest move is in the pack. Scott Dixon, Scott McLaughlin.
Another toe.
Helio Castro Neves. Look at turn 1.
Palou to the outside and Newgarden. I love that chopper shot. You can really appreciate the draft up the long front straightaway. Palou's going to have a run down to 5 here, I think.
So too's Marcus Armstrong. Watch that green Ridgeline car. 2 back is the bright green Vivid car. Chip Ganassi, he's had some frustrations this weekend. A lot of cars off track. Scott Dixon's car had to be replaced yesterday. And now here's his young charge. Wheel to wheel with Rossi.
Yeah, you got to back out of that one, but now he's got to defend from Pato Award. He's got there. Pato's there.
Pretty heavy squeeze, but Pato Award not going to lift. And how about Christian Lundgaard taking advantage? How quickly can you go from 3rd to 5th or 3rd to 6th as Armstrong now back to 7th?
And all this battling means drivers are using their push to pass. You see it in the pylon there, the seconds remaining. 200 is what you started with. And the guy that's smiling right now is Colton Herta. He's not had to use it at all to defend, but as all these cars behind him race each other, they're burning that push to pass, and that's going to be a huge advantage for the 26th later in this race.
Tell you what, though, Joseph Newgarden's catching him. He was boasting more than a 2-second lead. That's down to 1.3 now. Here comes the PPG Chevy. Let's watch the Award move. That was pretty savvy. He had to tuck it back up the inside. Watch the green car up ahead. Gotcha.
It was good defending for Marcus Armstrong. He did his best to get there, but he left that one car width because Pato was there. So it was aggressive, but it was on the line. It was good, I think.
It was good until you consider that it really put Armstrong in this situation, vulnerable once again. So had he just given up the spot to Award, he might not have lost another one to Lundgaard, but I like the aggression from the rookie. He's come swinging today and showing he has the pace and the racecraft to hopefully get him his first top 5.
There are only 3 New Zealanders in this race. I only say only. That's the most there's ever been. 3 New Zealanders in a race, and they're all together.
7th, 8th, and 9th. Armstrong, McLaughlin, and Dixon.
So lap 25, you can pit on lap 28 and make it to the end with one more stop. So that's where the window opens up. I think the black tire shod cars are going to run long on this stint. If you're a car on reds like DeFrancesco, who's the first runner on reds, if you feel like you've got an imbalance, if you feel like you're struggling, Dylan, you're going to come to pit lane as soon as the window opens.
Yeah, I think it's for Devlin. I think he feels pretty comfortable behind the wheel of that race car and just lost a spot to Santino Ferrucci. But now those 3, Dixon, Ferrucci, and DeFrancesco, when they do pit next time, they'll be off with the reds. They'll be done. So they can go the primaries from here.
David Malukas, the HMD Dale Coyne car, comes to a stop.
Looks like entrance to the carousel as the full course caution comes out. 4th one of the day, lap 24. How many laps of caution will this be? Does it open up the final, or sorry, second to last stop for all these cars?
Can't tell if that's just a mechanical issue, the car's shutting off and he pulled off the track, or if he ended up there somehow.
The field is pretty packed up, so they might open the pits next time by, which would be on this lap, lap 26.
We'll find out what happened to David Malukas and let you know when we come back to Road America.
Yellow flag pit stops are underway, and Alex Palou comes in and will just barely beat Joseph Newgarden out. Then it's Colton Herta coming out 3rd. Keep in mind, the top 8 before that had not done their mandatory stint on the alternate red sidewalled Firestones. Some of those maybe with an advantage that have primaries the rest of the way. Scott Dixon, he pitted from 9th, all took Shell fuel as well. Dylan.
Colton Herta lost the lead, and he sort of half stalled. The car chugged when he went to take off from the pit box. That may have been all that he needed to lose a couple spots and fall back to 3rd.
This guy was a machine last year with his overtaking moves here at Road America. Started 11th, finished 5th. It could have been even higher. So now he's going to have to display that again. But the problem is he's up against the Indy 500 winner and the series leader. Let's listen.
Well, one of the things to remember, the position that the 26 is in pit lane is right in the middle of pit lane. So pitting from the lead, he has all these cars that are coming down to get to their box. Yeah, see, he had to slow down. We didn't see what that car was in front of him. But he maybe had to drag his car a little bit, drag the brakes, slow down, and maybe that slower launch. Let's see.
I think just a little
right
bit
there.
slow on the stop. But
yeah, maybe.
Here's the race off pit road. Alex Palou, Joseph Newgarden, then Colton Herta.
Keep in mind you're going against Chip Ganassi Racing's #1 car. Team Penske's #1 car with Joseph Newgarden. That's a tall order.
Oh, yeah.
It might even been 0.2 of a second on pit lane. It's going to swing both directions, but now we'll get to see what Colton Herta's like starting in dirty air. How aggressive does he play this? And remember, he has saved all 200 seconds. He has not touched push to pass.
Now, I understand why some of these cars stayed out. Guys like Power, Jack Harvey, having had problems. Why did Marcus Armstrong stay out?
Don't understand.
They were only a handful of laps from pitting anyway.
Yeah, 37 seconds lost on pit lane. You do that under green, you're going to need to pit under yellow all day long. So,
and he was right in the mix.
Maybe we can find out what's going on with the 11. But he last pitted on lap 13, and he's not going to have much gas left when this thing starts. It reminds me a bit of Canapino staying out at Long Beach.
Yeah, you're
like,
right.
That ain't going to work.
Correct.
Dylan, what you got?
So most of what was the top 10 there before those pit stops did pit and put their primary tires on, or their alternate tires on for the first time today. Here is the discussion between Alexander Rossi and strategist Brian Barnhart.
What color you want to go with?
I don't have any information. Can you tell me anything?
I would recommend going to the reds and then finish on the primaries.
Let's go to them and gives us a pin to recover if we have to.
10-4.
And so I think part of the hope here is under this yellow, obviously with the reds on, you're not at high speed, so you're not utilizing them quite as much as you would maybe later in the race if we get a longer green flag run. So these guys want to get them on, get them off, and then get back to the primary tires to finish.
If this stays green after the restart all the way to the finish, the car in the best situation, I think, is actually Scott Dixon. He's already satisfied the red tire requirement.
Yep.
So he'll have black tires and black tires to finish. If it stays green, you just look at the number of laps remaining. You're going to have to go 27 laps to the finish. If the reds start to fall apart for guys like Palou, Newgarden, Herta, O'Ward, Scott Dixon is going to be fishing at a trout farm. It's going to be easy picking the rest of the day.
We know that many of you can't be with us throughout the practice and qualifying sessions each weekend. So I want to show you something that was massive yesterday. And it involved two of the biggest names in the sport, two icons of the sport, Will Power and Scott Dixon. This happened yesterday, and it was an awkward accident from Scott Dixon. Actually, he had an eventful day, period. That was, during qualifying, but there was a big crash in practice where Power and Dixon came together. Dixon was unsighted. He didn't know Power was there. He was trying to get out of the way because he'd just spun himself in Canada corner, and it was huge. The Ganassi team had to replace his car.
Yeah, total write-off for Scott Dixon. And for Will Power, almost a total write-off. Massive contact and crash. Power was just like, what in the world was that all about? Scott Dixon simply didn't know Power was there.
And as a result of this, both drivers that had suboptimal qualifyings with cars that weren't quite up to spec. They started 23rd and 22nd, but again, you look at where Scott Dixon has got himself up to, the position he's in, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, just remember that if Scott Dixon continues on the trajectory that he is on in the PNC Bank Honda. Let's go back to racing. Look at Palou on the inside, going on the attack, trying to clear Jack Harvey. He knows Newgarden and Herta are coming.
It's important to clear Jack Harvey, but at the same time, it gave him a slow launch off the last corner. Does that allow Joseph Newgarden to use this draft off the 30 of Jack Harvey? There he is. He's behind Palou. Drag race now down the front.
Oh, my goodness. Hold on. Hold on. Turn one at Road America. This is lively enough as it is, and Newgarden's lost a spot.
Jack Harvey goes wide, trying to defend against Alex Palou. Side by side, that's Scott McLaughlin on the inside of Harvey now. Devlin DiFrancesco side by side with one of the Meyer-Shank cars.
On board here with Rosenquist. Still on the lead lap.
His teammate Pato O'Ward got a spectacular restart.
You hear Rosenquist all over the rev limiter as Joseph Newgarden's defending against Scott McLaughlin.
Look who's going to get a spot. Scotty D up another position, now just behind Newgarden.
Scott Dixon on Scott McLaughlin. This is Rinus VeeKay on Devlin DiFrancesco, who's forced out into the grass.
Oh, we've seen that so many times already today, and it probably won't be the last.
Just so low grip on the exit, on the outside rather, of turn 6. Pato O'Ward looking on the inside of the carousel there, just out of your screen.
So much action, but Marcus Armstrong up front and leading, but for how long? There can't be much fuel left in that tank.
So Palou is the effective leader, even though Armstrong here is out in front, ahead of Grosjean and Power. They're not part of the main story. That's the guy right there, in the blue and white machine, the American Legion Honda, then Colton Herta, Pato O'Ward, and then you see the light blue PPG Chevy of Joseph Newgarden.
This is so crucial for Colton Herta in that Gamebridge Honda. He started on pole, he had the pace, he controlled it from the beginning. He lost that lead on pit lane, but he needs to just keep a cool head. He knows he's got a great race car.
Do whatever you want to do.
So we've been wondering about Marcus Armstrong, about this strategy of staying out during that yellow. Kevin, what can you tell us?
So he's going to have to pit in another 3 laps or so, but I checked in with Blair Julian, who's on the stand, the strategist, and he was very concerned about being able to make the alternates last for a full stint. So that's why they decided to go ahead and stay out to do something different. If it stays green, they believe those on the alternates might struggle a little bit. That's why I would say keep an eye on Scott Dixon. He's done with it, and he's on primaries, Dylan.
Colton Herta is one that just put the alternates on. This was the conversation with his pit box as he makes a move on Alex Palou here about making the reds last.
And how many laps do I need to make these reds last? 14. Okay. 15 minimum.
And that will get you, that's from a while ago, so the number in your upper left-hand corner is lap 41 of 55. That's your go-home number, meaning get-home number. You've got to get to 41 to make it with just one more stop. That's what everybody will be hanging on to. That's why we think Scott Dixon is in a great situation. Look for lap 35 to 40 in that window for Dixon to really start pressing as all these cars on reds will start to struggle.
And while that was happening, we watched Colton Herta get around Alex Palou, effectively leading on that strategy now. So clean air, well, not clean air yet, because we still have some pit stops to come. Here's the pit stop prediction from NTT. Armstrong's coming in quick, Power a few laps behind him. That will unleash Colton Herta into that clean air to try to help make those reds last that full 14 laps.
Will Power would need a bunch of luck on yellows to make it home from that pit stop window. So we think Herta is the effective leader on this strategy, and there you see him leading Palou and O'Ward into turn 1.
Let's give O'Ward some props. That's a heck of a comeback. After getting hit on lap 1, lost a ton of positions. It was not the ideal start. He's been scrapping and fighting in this Arrow McLaren Chevy, and old Fast Hands is in good shape.
There's a vibration high speed coming out of O'Ward's wing that I'm not seeing from some of the other cars. It really seems to be shaking a little bit more.
Here's Newgarden and Dixon down into turn 5, fighting over the same piece of real estate.
Rosenquist and Ericsson side by side at 5 as well.
Good close stuff. 31 laps of the 55. It's been an eventful day, punctuated by 4 full course cautions. Let's go on board Felix Rosenquist, show you what happened just a few moments ago.
It's Graham Rahal in front. Oh. It just sort of fades over. It's kind of the natural line there.
I don't like that, especially when you consider where the draft is up ahead on all the cars ahead of Graham Rahal. I don't know that that was in reaction to.
Yeah, we saw a puff of smoke coming from in front of there.
Yeah, they touched.
Race control said that Rahal had to give up that position. Here is Rinus VK in the direct supply Chevy and the blue and pink EvTech Honda. That's DiFrancesco running off track. That was on the restart lap.
Yeah, that's why it was good to see Palou fall in line.
Peterson on his teammate. That's Santino Ferrucci, but it was Benjamin Peterson up the inside as Marcus Armstrong. And again, I just don't get this, James. This guy's not only going to go to the back, he's going to go to the back with a massive gap.
Kevin Lee standing by, Kev.
What would have really helped is if a quick caution had come out after the restart and he could pit under yellow. Yes, he still would have gone to the back, but he would have been able to maintain touch with the rest of the field. The advantage they will have is they go to their alternate Firestones. They only need to make them last 10 to 11 laps. So he might be able to pick up some pace during this last little run.
The thing I don't understand is everyone else had to make them last a full stint, and he had great track position as we see some dicey racing here between 2 McLarens and a Penske. That's Rossi, Rosenquist, and McLaughlin, who we ride on board with now.
And you know what? Great recovery from Felix Rosenquist after the issues earlier to get himself back into this situation. Running 8th right now, and 8th with pace, and he's got the harder black tire on. So, like Scott Dixon, Rosenquist number 2 in line in terms of favorable strategy that he finds himself in, as the red tire cars are going to start to struggle in the next couple of laps.
What is this place to Felix Rosenquist? It's the site of his first NTT IndyCar Series race victory. Swedish driver loves it. He got punted earlier by Rinus VK, spun in turn 3, and as Townsend mentioned, great recovery.
The first and only win as we ride on board with the NTT data camera here. I love this nose cam, guys, especially through the track here.
Let's go for a ride.
Let's do it. Let's listen along to Felix Rosenquist.
Rossi's looking pretty bad off of 1. He's struggling on the exit of 1, just so you know.
You hear that big lift. You can see it as well on your Firestone telemetry on the left. He's trying to save a little bit of fuel right now, Felix Rosenqvist. If you're not in a position to make a pass, it's better to just get off that throttle, heading into the big brake zone, save a little bit of fuel, and you can see he's not losing anything to his teammate in front, Alexander Rossi, right in that draft. Heading down into turn 5, Joseph Newgarden trying to clear Romain Grosjean.
He does, and Dixon's lining up for a shot as well. Not quite close enough in turn 5. They're all lining up behind Dixon, Rossi, Rosenqvist. It's the 2 Swedish drivers together there, Marcus Ericsson, and then Scott McLaughlin. That's what the top 10 looks like. And then 2 of the 3 Rahal Linneman Lanigan drivers together. Christian Lundgaard 11th, Graham Rahal 12th. Big shuffle with team personnel there since the last race in Detroit. So whatever they've done has worked. Rosenqvist looked up the inside of Rossi.
Well, everybody's getting stacked up because Romain Grosjean is a lap down and causing all kinds of trouble for Scott Dixon. Dixon trying to force his way past. And he does. That is a big break for Dixon to get that done before the kink, get some clean air, and go after Newgarden.
Yeah, and Rossi had to do it just after he had to fall in line, and now he's under big pressure from Rosenqvist. Ericsson's trying to go by Grosjean as well.
Oh, Grosjean's in the hurt locker. He is hating this because he loves this track. He's done well in the past, but an unforced error put him in a predicament where now, and strategy call where he's just kind of floundering. He's just out there and he's headed to the pits, just like Will Power.
And Will Power is going to go to alternates. He does still needed to do that. So this is required for Will Power, but he's also shortened that stint. He's been well off strategy since starting in the back, diving in early, couldn't get the full fill on their second stop. So I think this is stop number 6 now for Will Power, is just trying to salvage some points. Shell fuel, Firestones, and back out.
Thanks for that update, Kevin. Almost certainly Will Power will have to stop another time to make it to the end. But from the back, as Christian Lundgaard challenging McLaughlin to the outside. He's tried that once before on McLaughlin's teammate Joseph Newgarden. Didn't work out too well.
Yeah, fool me once. Got the message loud and clear. Fell back in line there. Will live to fight the 3 in another corner. I'm just so impressed at how tight the pack is. No one's breaking away. It's like the extra grip from this new pavement is really just giving drivers the more mechanical grip so that the aero loss from running close isn't quite as aggressive. This has been fun.
So Colton Herta, the pole man who's led 25 laps, has a narrow advantage over Alex Palou, the championship leader. Welcome back. You're watching the Sonsio Grand Prix here at Road America, and you're looking at Alexander Rossi. Rossi seems to be floundering. He just got passed by Marcus Ericsson, and that's his teammate Felix Rosenqvist. But there's life left in Rossi. He's fighting hard, but I'm not sure how strong a position he's in to fight.
Look at Rosenqvist going to try to come right back on his teammate up the inside. He'll have the advantage into turn 6.
And guys, this is alternates versus primaries. You see Alexander Rossi on those red sidewalled alternates. He is struggling now. Felix on the primaries.
Are we at the crossover point? About 5 laps from when all these drivers will make their last pit stop. On board here with Lundgaard, you can see he's on the softer red tire.
And the same story further back. You see Scott Dixon in that orange and white car up to P5 right now. Him and Ericsson both on those primaries making moves through all 4 in front of them on the alternates. These two are going to start moving up.
That is 18 positions gained for Scott Dixon right there, and right behind him is his teammate Marcus Ericsson. Let's go through the field with Kevin Lee. Kick us off, Kevo.
And remember, Marcus Ericsson is 2nd in the championship. A big gap to his teammate Alex Palou, but this is the 3rd straight season, really the 2nd he's been a championship contender. He told me what I've learned last year is going to help me considerably. I'd not really been in that situation before, and I focused too much on others, only focused on myself right now. Behind him is Felix Rosenqvist, Arrow McLaren. What a recovery it's been for him as Ericsson is challenging Dixon right here. A little gap back to Rosenqvist. He's able to salvage something where it looked like he was going all wrong early, Dylan.
And Kevin, for Alexander Rossi, it is starting to go wrong. Remember what he told us in warm-up this morning? Didn't really get any laps all weekend in practice on these red tires. They are struggling here just to try to keep those underneath them. Rossi's fallen to 8th, Kevin.
and Scott McLaughlin is one of those getting through their alternate stints. So if he can just simply maintain where he's at right now, he can make up some ground, and he is working on Christian Lundgaard right now. No movement, but the car has been good so far for Scott McLaughlin today, Dylan.
And Lundgaard did get around him right there, that bright green neon-colored car in front of him. Been a nice weekend for Lundgaard. There was some optimism coming in here despite some internal changes with the Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan group. Christian runs really well on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Similar philosophies from driving and setup apply here to Road America. He's had a nice day, but he's also starting to struggle a little bit on the reds. Behind him as well, in 11th actually, is Graham Rahal. Same story for him. He started a little bit deeper in the field on a different strategy at the start of the day, but has recovered nicely. Just a slow, steady, methodical day, and two of the Rahal cars really running well. Same thing for the guy behind him, Kyle Kirkwood, who had that spin. Lap 1, turn 1. We talked about Brian Herta trying to work some of his magic to get Kirkwood back into the mix. He's close. He's 12th, just outside the top 10.
Good stuff, guys. Thanks very much for that. Colton Herta, you mentioned about the Indianapolis Grand Prix circuit. That was the last time that Colton Herta was victorious in the NTT IndyCar Series.
Well, and for Colton Herta, things are starting to slow down a little bit on pace, but moments ago, Colton Herta's teammate, Roman Grosjean, once again off track in turn 1.
Wow. That thing got airborne. Really pleased to say NASCAR and NBC present Nashville. And for the first time ever, the streets of Chicago as well. NASCAR's second half kicks off next weekend. Yes, just next weekend, 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Exciting times ahead. Looking forward to that. That street race in Chicago, I should say, is going to be wild. And in this race, we have got Scott McLaughlin, his old sparring partner from Supercars in Australia, Shane Van Gisbergen, who was one of your old teammates, Townsend. Gizzy's going to be in that race.
One of the most talented drivers I ever had the chance to work with. SVG will be pushing. It'd be fun to see McLaughlin get into that Chicago Cup race, but he's busy on the IndyCar schedule as we ride on board with Scotty Mack, hanging on to those reds, 17 to go. Oh, it's starting to slide around. It's getting greasy on those red tires. What does it look like for Colton Herta up front? Well, the pace for Colton Herta been softening up a bit. That last lap was a 45.2 as Colton Herta crosses the line at the top of the hill here. That's a 45.7, about half a second lap slower.
And he's been losing distance to the number 10 of Alex Palou in his mirrors there. It was over a second the gap at one point. Now it's back down to basically just a half second.
James, you know Colton very well. He was your old teammate. You of all people know all too well what an important day this is for him. This guy is unbelievably talented, but it seems just there's too many times where things go wrong when they should go right. And everybody recognizes his talent. He's the youngest winner, youngest pole sitter. He is incredible, but this is a really important day in the building of the 2023 season.
It is, and I love the fact that even though he lost the lead through the pit sequence, he got back in front, and now he's controlling it. We saw this before. I was super impressed back when he qualified on pole in Laguna Seca, and he kept Scott Dixon at bay for the entire duration of that race. He knows how to control from the front. I love what he is doing right now, controlling this distance, taking care of these Firestones, and pretty soon he'll be able to strap on another set of primaries, and I think it's smooth sailing from there.
I'm watching Colton Herta hang on right here. You see his team laid out on pit lane, but boy, 15 laps to go at the line. I would think you'd want to put Colton Herta one more lap based on the balance I'm seeing on board. It doesn't look bad at all.
But think about it. You'd rather do it now than under yellow. So if he goes in now, then everyone else is exposed if they don't come with him, and the race off pit lane could be a little more treacherous from where he is.
He'll come in, but this puts you in a little bit of a fuel window. So if it stays green, then for everybody else to run a little bit longer, they're in a better fuel situation. Coming to pit lane with Dylan.
Scott Harner, the strategist, said, we're frustrated with our results this year. We need to win this race. Alternates coming off for Colton Herta. Last set of sticker primary Firestones going on. Shell fuel in. We'll see where Herta blends in, Kevin.
So we're going to see Felix Rosenqvist coming in a moment. Rosenqvist has recovered from a couple of offs. Also, we're going to see others in just a moment. Those that just came in, the advantage that they would have, if it goes yellow before everyone pits, they can cycle through. And with that danger zone, everyone is going to come in with the next lap or so. Rosenqvist gets out just ahead of Lundgaard.
Simon Pagenaud gets released from the Meyer Shank team in the Sirius XM Auto Nation cars. So Alex Palou didn't pit, nor did Pato O'Ward. Joseph Newgarden, Scott Dixon, they're all still to make their last stop in this Sonsio Grand Prix here at Road America.
And I know there's the risk of the yellow coming out, James, but I like the call here from Palou, O'Ward, Newgarden, Dixon. It puts Colton Herta in a situation where he's got to save a little gas to make that work. I think it's going to be straight up pace to the finish. That would be my gamble. If I was a betting man, I'd bet on green to the end.
And you got to do something different, right? As we see maybe another issue here for Romain Grosjean in turn 3, but you've got to do something different if you're those drivers. And we talked at the top of the show, Palou's so good at taking care of tires. If he's just been babying those reds, he's in a really good spot. So let's take a look back at what happened with Romain Grosjean out of the pits. Simon Pagenaud,
This looks like a repeat of what happened before break, except he just didn't launch the car like last time.
And then this is down at turn 3.
Oh, man.
It's been a day to forget for Romain Grosjean.
He wants this race to end so badly.
All right, here we go. So we saw Herta up front pit. Now here come all the chasers. And we're going to watch eagerly, Kevin, as to where they come out in relation to Colton Herta.
So top 2 on the track right now. Alex Palou, Pato O'Ward coming in, but we'll be watching Colton Herta on track in the blend. The advantageous pit location. There's O'Ward. He's closer to the middle. Palou is all the way at pit out. Joseph Newgarden is coming a little bit behind him as well.
They're going to be coming out.
There's an empty spot for Newgarden. He's going to have a clean exit. Palou with the race off. Newgarden, where's Herta?
Here he comes at speed. And it's going to be into turn 1 between the Spaniard and the Californian.
How like that?
And Colton Herta stays ahead.
This is going to get sketchy here, guys.
Oh, boy.
Lundgaard gets pushed way wide.
That was super sketchy.
Rossi defending very aggressively against Felix Rosenqvist and trying to avoid Lundgaard coming back on the track as now Marcus Ericsson has a huge run on the 6.
Ericsson goes to the outside. Rosenqvist giving him a little bit of squeeze, but leaving him room. The advantage, though, should be Rosenqvist to the inside, but he's on cold tires just like Ericsson.
The countrymen, do they come together? No, they don't. They give themselves some room. And look, here comes Scott McLaughlin up the inside.
This is some great defensive driving from Alexander Rossi at the front of this train. The blue and orange car, he is having to do everything to keep these cars behind on cold tires. Now that he's made it to the carousel, though, Townsend, I think he's in good shape.
He should be. Temperature building, especially with the track temp at 116 degrees. As Callum Ilot's off, there goes Hunter Ray around.
As on the exit of 6, great job from Hunter Ray to avoid him and keep it on the track through that fast kink in 7.
On goes Hollinger, Chevrolet driver, his teammate just a few positions behind. Augustine Canapino making his 600th career start. It's only his 8th IndyCar race, but 600 career starts. And again, Romain Grosjean flirting with the fringe of the track.
We're gonna have to give Romain Grosjean a set of knobbies to make it to the end of this thing. He's been in the grass so much.
He's gonna have to come in here and pit pretty soon. He's been on a very different program with all the issues that he's had today. So those tires are not doing great on the 28.
That's what happened to Callum Ilott.
All on his own.
Yeah, just, again, we've seen it a lot in turn 6. A little bit too wide. Great heads-up driving from Ryan Hunter-Reay. And here's the blend on board Felix Rosenqvist. Oh my goodness. That is such a fast corner in an IndyCar, guys. That is not what you want to see. Cars parked at the apex.
But nowhere else for Alexander Rossi to go in that situation. That's how it works here. Pit out sends you right to the apex as Lundgaard. We get a replay. Oh, the closing rate. Insane.
You learned a lot about the bravery of Christian Lundgaard right there, didn't you?
Big time.
Unbelievable.
And he pulled it off, guys. I mean, yeah, he went a little bit wide, but managed to keep the position. So well done to Christian Lundgaard. Great drive today.
So Will Power is at the head of the field, but he is way off sequence by the tune of 13 laps to the difference of Colton Herta. And Herta has about a 3.5, actually not, 2.5 second lead over Alex Palou. Then Newgarden O'Ward, who we ride with right now with thanks to Arrow. There's a good scrap. Marcus Ericsson, he continues to push forward. That was on Felix Rosenquist. These two guys have been going at it for several laps now. On board the Auto Nation car with Kyle Kirkwood.
Pretty remarkable when you think about the start of the race for Kyle Kirkwood, going off the penalty all the way to the back up to 12th, and now passing Felix Rosenquist for 11th.
And Felix cannot defend because he only has 9 seconds of push to pass remaining with still 12 laps to go at a track with some very long straightaways. The number 6 is going to be very much at a disadvantage in the closing laps of this race.
And Kyle Kirkwood still has a quarter of his allocation left.
Where did Colton Herta's push to pass go? Just a little while ago, it was all 200 seconds. He's used a lot of that button on the in lap, the out lap.
I was just going to say that in and out lap would have been everything. I bet they just used a ton. Dylan.
That was it, the out laps. They told him when he left the pit box, we need a mega out lap here. So I think that's where it all went. Colton was trying to use it all up there to make sure he stayed in the lead.
Hey, Dylan, question on fuel mileage for Colton Herta. He did pit a lap earlier than Palou and Newgarden and O'Ward. Are they coaching him up on fuel saving to make it to the end, or do they think they're good?
I haven't heard them coaching him necessarily. I did heard them say this is the number that we need. Now every team of course has different lingo of what those numbers mean and how they translate, but I did hear them say this is the number we need. When we get there, we're good. So I'm sure there is some saving going on right now in the 26.
Let's listen. Oh yeah, big coast phase there in the Canada corner. So they'll be giving that information to Alex Palou, saying you are in a much better fuel situation than Colton Herta. He's burned a lot of push to pass. Keep digging for the number 10, and they'll have a shot down the stretch.
All right, with thanks to NTT, let's have a look at the pit stop and pit time, rather differential, Hinch.
And this is it, guys. You see on the in lap, Alex Palou's got the advantage. He had that clean air, but then time on pit lane, great work by the 26 crew, and you see that out lap, 1 second to the good for Colton Herta. Using all that push to pass gave him about a 1.5 second advantage on the sequence, and that's how he was able to come out even a little bit further ahead than he was when he pit, thanks to NTT for that pit time differential.
That last lap, Alex Palou a second quicker than Colton Herta.
Well, 10.5 laps to go. Will Powell will need to come in. That puts Colton Herta at the head. And Alex Palou, as points run, he's going to continue to put a hurting on this field. Oh, it is on at the front in the Sonsio Grand Prix here at Road America. Welcome back. The yellow and black car is Colton Herta. The white and blue car is championship leader Alex Palou. And it is on for the win of this race with just 9 laps to go.
Will Power comes to pit lane. This is the battle for the win. James, I said it earlier. I didn't think it was a great idea to bring in Colton a lap before and stretch the fuel to the finish. We're starting to see Alex Palou really press as Colton Herta has to get a better fuel number to make it to the end.
And not just be, it's not just a challenge to get that number, Townsend, which it is a huge challenge to get that number while keeping someone like Alex Palou behind you, but it also limits you from being able to use push to pass in defense, Dylan. So the 26 is really sort of handcuffed with what he can do right now.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're asking him to save more, even though he's got Palou breathing down his neck. So we were talking about the numbers in break. I think you maybe understand those, having driven for Andretti, but the numbers are changing lap by lap here as Herta tries to hold on to the lead.
It's the worst feeling as a driver when you're already saving and they say, hey, mate, hey, bud, we need a little bit more. And look at the stress on Michael Andretti's face.
Well, he knows. He's thinking to himself, why? Why did we pit with 15 to go? We could have pitted with 14 to go.
And look at down the back straight again. And Alex Palou had a good look at Colton Herta here on the lap before, and then just decides to tuck in again through Canada corner.
Oh, Palou gets a really good exit. He should be right with Herta as they come to the final corner before the long front straightaway. And if I'm Palou, I'm going to start using my button, make my move now.
Well, the other thing is you got to remember where you save fuel as a driver is at the end of these long straightaways into the brake zone. So the exact place where Colton Herta needs to be lifting and saving is where Alex Palou is going to be attacking. And it just makes it so much harder. So Palou's doing a great job of just forcing Colton to have to go on the brakes a little deeper and lifting. Yeah,
big coast phase from Colton Herta as Palou closes up.
Makes it very difficult to defend for the driver of the Gainbridge Honda.
You see the push to pass on the pylon there, 21 seconds for Colton Herta, 39 for Palou, but
89.3, Palou, 39 overtake.
letting Colton know how many seconds left. Alex
Look
Palou
at that.
has, and he thought about it into turn 5.
Oh, he knows. Alex Palou can smell blood in the water.
And Palou needs to think about making his move sooner rather than later, because off the tail of the number 10, Newgarden, O'Ward, Dixon, all starting to close the gap. If you're Alex Palou, you do not want to make this a 5-car fight for the win.
Alex Palou has won 2 of the last 3 races. The Indy GP, and then 2 weeks ago on the streets of Detroit. In the break, he didn't get a break. He went back to Europe to test a Formula 1 car, and then comes back here ready to go. This guy is as neat as a pin. He looks like he's just come out of a salon every time you see him, and he drives the same way. He is meticulous. T-Bell, what do you call him?
The professor of precision. He's a surgeon out there on the racetrack, never making forceful moves, always very methodical. And take a look at this spy cam we had from the number 10 stand, little audio about push to pass.
Overtake in front, 32, behind, 47, no pressure behind, 2.4 back.
Now pressure at the front though as Palou presses forward.
And there he does it on the outside.
How about that? Nice move, Alex Palou, the American Legion Honda, in the lead of the Sonsio Grand Prix.
Beautiful stuff. And Colton Herta knows he's a sitting duck at this point. Now, Colton Herta's attention turns immediately to what's behind him. He's going to have to deal with Newgarden, O'Ward, and Dixon at the finish of this thing. For Palou, this is perfect. Let Herta mess with the guys behind, head down, 6.5 more laps, and he'll win again at Road America.
When we went to the last commercial break, I said, as they run right now, Alex Palou will continue to put a hurting on the field. I was referring to the championship points as we look at Scott Dixon in the PNC Bank Honda. Points as they run, fellas. Alex Palou would extend a 51-point championship lead to 78. Oh my goodness.
That is a remarkable gap to have at this point in the season. Only time I've seen bigger was his teammate Scott Dixon in 2020 when he had won all 3 of the first 3 races.
Yeah. And I immediately think, well, he's going to go to some tracks that aren't his best, but then I think, no, he's good everywhere.
Yeah, he's pretty good everywhere.
Kevin Lee.
And keep in mind, this could be a 4-win winning streak. 4 races, because he won in the GP at Indianapolis. He maybe could have, should have won the Indy 500. He was hit on pit lane, fell to the back, still came back and finished 4th. Win number 2 in a row if things stay the way they are. And what's even scarier, he says he's better than when he won the championship. Lee was telling both of this on Thursday, that he now understands things that he didn't before as Newgarden gets a run on Herta.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Colton Herta cannot fight.
Oh.
He cannot defend. He's simply trying to nurse this Gainbridge Honda to the end, but that's a long way to go. 6 laps around the 4-mile monster that is Road America, and there are more coming. There's more lining up.
At this point, if you're Colton Herta, you're just thinking, why? How are we in this situation? Why don't these guys have to save fuel? And it just comes down to that 1-lap difference, a 4-mile racetrack, and it's a massive amount of fuel difference pitting a lap earlier.
There's a replay of Will Power in the Verizon Chevy. What happened through the kink? Oh boy.
What an incredible save.
Especially that last snap. That looked like Simon Pagenaud last year here. That big old bump off track.
Guys, here's something that is very realistic that could transpire right before our eyes here this afternoon. Scott Dixon could go from wrecking a race car in practice yesterday, having to go to a backup car, starting way down the back of the field. He's made up 18 positions. He could finish on the podium here at Road America. There's still plenty of time to go.
And as they run right now, Dixon 4th in the championship standings, 100 points behind his teammate Alex Palou. That's a big delta, but a lot can happen down the stretch, especially with the 9. I wonder how far back Dixon's ever been and still won the championship.
I'll make it up. He's been in every scenario and pulled it off. Our stats guru, Russ Thompson, is crunching the numbers as we speak to give us an answer, but let's enjoy what we're seeing. Here comes Pato O'Ward up the inside and will take over 3rd place. from Colton Herta.
Shocking. Colton Herta's going to have a trouble finishing in the top 5 as Scott Dixon's going to pass him going to turn 3.
Dylan.
Well, hey, we see Pato O'Ward on the move. Keep in mind the day he's had, got hit by Kirkwood on turn 1, lap 1, fell to 7th, had a blocking penalty earlier where he had to give up a spot. Then they've been battling that rear bar issue where the car isn't handling exactly as they wanted it to. But after their last 2 races at Indy and Detroit, they just wanted to come here and frankly finish. They've had 2 DNFs in a row, so a finish in the top 3 is certainly just what the doctor ordered to kind of right the ship for Pato here.
Yeah, that's nice. I asked him about that, Dylan, the other day, and I said, you know, would you change what you do? And he said, I don't, because I like to go on the attack. I'm not a guy who just sits around and counts the numbers and looks at the points. I like to go on the attack. As we go back to Marcus Ericsson, Christian Lundgaard, Scott McLaughlin. Speaking of Lundgaard, here's the Vivid Honda. Whoop. Turn 6, just got a little wide, lost it.
Caught out a bunch of drivers so far today. His turn 6 just so slippery off line. Here's Scott McLaughlin in the same corner, watching him go off.
Oh, so tempting for McLaughlin to try to fire it to the apex, and McLaughlin making the high percentage decision to wait until he gets a better chance.
Yeah, you're inside the top 10, having a decent day. Let's just bring it home. Not risk too much too late in the race. 5 laps to go, coming to 4.
We've spoke a lot this year about the woes as we ride on board the Sonsio Chevy with Scott McLaughlin. The woes at Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan Racing. If positions remain the same, Lundgaard brings it home 7th, Graham Ray Hall in 11th. You've got to go back to headquarters and say, well, whatever changes we made, it seemingly worked.
Yeah, Lundgaard's done a really solid job all weekend. As his teammate here, Graham Rahal, down in 11th. Solid day. Had that penalty early on for blocking. 5th, 3rd bank on board, giving us a great shot in car of really the detail. If you look at that right front tire, the unloaded tire in turns 1 and 3, and you'll see that feathering disappear as Graham makes a front roll bar adjustment. He's got a pretty good coast phase going on, saving some gas. When did Rahal last pit? Lap 40, you know what? Just when Colton Herta pitted.
He's on the Herta program when it comes to fuel.
I don't want to be on the Herta program.
Not at the moment, no, but these 2 guys, they have fuel to burn. And Scott Dixon hunting down Pato O'Ward.
Hinch, very similar push to pass number.
Yeah, that's right. Dixon at 49, O'Ward at 55, so a 6-second gap between these 2 on push to pass. But Pato looks pretty in control. He's done a great job bouncing back from that issue in turn 1 on the start.
There you see it.
But man, Dixon getting onto the podium, that would be a heck of a story. It's already a heck of a story, but man, yeah, just the most Scott Dixon day ever. He can turn lemons into lemonade better than any driver I've ever seen in this sport.
Still got a nice toe going off O'Ward up the front straightaway. So we have Honda, Chevy, Honda, Chevy, Honda running in the top 4 as Stingray Robb off in turn 3, is it?
I think it's the carousel. It's the carousel.
Wow. That's a big off. Look at all the rocks and dirt that he just brought back onto the track.
Right on line. That's a great save, though. We saw Pato O'Ward go off there in practice this morning in warm-up. Let's have a look at it here.
Oh, boy.
Pretty late in the corner. Just keeping it off the wall.
We've talked about it all weekend. Carousel kind of works like an oval track corner this weekend with that new asphalt. You get just a little bit offline and you're chasing it right up the track. Smooth sailing Alex Palou in his own little world up front. So is Joseph Newgarden, but these 2, O'Ward and Dixon, might have some fireworks before this thing is over.
Both championship contenders too, by the way. Pato O'Ward is in 4th and Dixon is behind him in the championship points. Interestingly enough, they are both tied on the same amount of points.
You want a little extra motivation if you're Scott Dixon? Think back to Long Beach.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But Scott Dixon doesn't make those kind of moves. He knows that the days when you can bring home
doesn't
the 4th.
forget. Take a look at this. If you weren't watching the Long Beach Grand Prix earlier today, Scott Dixon fell into the clutches of the hard-charging Mexican over here. Hip check, Dixon heavy into the tires. And he had some threatening words after that for Pato O'Ward. Basically, I won't forget, don't you worry. I'll find my chance somewhere down the line, down the schedule.
And the reason he said that is because Pato O'Ward said, I'm not apologizing for that. And Dixon said, well, if that's the way you want to race, we'll race that way. 2 laps to go, Kevo, we're almost home.
And Scott Dixon, as you've noted, had to recover from a major crash yesterday. That is a backup car. And also, let's not forget his teammate Alex Palou had heavy contact yesterday as well. So Chip Ganassi Racing rebuilt his car, put a totally new car out. This was from practice yesterday, final corner, big flush hit, and they had to really recover before qualifying to be able to get this car out. They didn't get it through tech. They simply went out with a new car, and Palou was still able to qualify at 3rd. And this is what we're talking about. When Alex Palou, why we are so impressed with him, nothing phases him. Multiple times he's come through with an early weekend crash, still comes back, gets the job done, set to roll to another win today.
He's able to stay in that focus zone so effectively and seemingly so comfortably as he now boasts a 5+ second lead.
I was just going to say, we've seen every time he wins a race, he wins it by a country mile. He only took the lead of this race, what, with 10 to go? And look at the gap he's already pulled out. Without all the yellows at the end of Detroit, we would have seen a massive gap there. The gap to victory in Indy GP was large. You think back to Laguna last year. When he gets out front, he puts his head down and has really, truly separated himself from one of the most impressive grids of IndyCar drivers we've ever seen.
All right, there's the white flag. 4 miles to go for the American Legion Honda of Alex Palou.
There's Newgarden, O'Ward, and Dixon just seems to be pressing pretty hard now. Does Dixon make a move?
He used a lot of that push to pass just then up the front straight, and he's going to have a shot at Pato O'Ward down turn 5. This is 3. Get ready for the big downhill run.
Seems like Dixon's just struggling to get close enough through those medium speed corners. This looks like another good run, James.
These tires are long in their life. Both drivers are going to be all over the push to pass button.
O'Ward's still pretty conservative on that, so they've got plenty in the bank, but they're running out of points on the track to capitalize on it.
They probably can't just drain it all because they're still needing a little bit of saving as we see the number 11 Marcus Armstrong off in the carousel.
And that's about where Dixon and O'Ward are approaching as they finish this lap. After this corner, they're entering the carousel. It looks like Armstrong was just getting going again. There comes Palou. Oh boy, Armstrong's not in a great spot right there. Whoa! Right at the entrance of the kink with his teammate in the lead. That was close.
That's going to be talked about in the Monday morning meeting, no doubt.
You bet.
But Palou got away with it.
Well, you see on this car, with the American Legion, it says be the one. Be the one to ask, are you okay? It's to help veteran suicide prevention. Well, to use those very words, Alex Palou is the one. He is the one in this 2023 IndyCar season. He is the one here at Road America. And Alex Palou wins again. Back-to-back races. He wins the Sonsio Grand Prix.
Woo! Thank you, boys. Thank you for those pit stops. Yeah! Yes!
Chip Ganassi celebrates on the pit box. And his man is just dominant this season. 3 wins on the year. There's going to be fried chicken for everybody tonight for Alex Palou. That's his post-race win tradition. He said, I had to get somewhere at the Detroit airport when I was flying to France. He said, but I found a place that had fried chicken, and he's going to find a place here tonight, either in Elkart Lake or where is he off to?
There you see the rest of the top 10 results. How about Kyle Kirkwood fighting his way all the way back up to 9th? I think Alexander Rossi will be disappointed to come home 10th. But for this guy, he is the one. He was the one.
How about Colton Herter, 5th?
Almost lost 5th to Marcus Ericsson down the stretch. Just narrowly kept his Gainbridge Honda ahead of the Husky Chocolates driver, Marcus Ericsson.
That'll be a tough one. Ericsson slides up alongside Alex Palou to congratulate his teammate. Here's Marcus Armstrong in the background. 2 of the top 4 Ganassi cars, 3 of the top 6 Ganassi cars. The Advanced Auto Parts moment of the race. Alex Palou. Who else? just stayed there right with Colton Herta for the majority of the race. He led 10 of the 55 and took off to win in dominant fashion by 4.5 seconds. 7th career victory for Alex Palou. Here's how he got it done. Colton Herta was in fuel preservation mode. Palou was on the attack.
It was dicey all the way to the finish as Palou once again had to navigate teammate Marcus Armstrong, the fastest corner on the track, but he keeps it clean, smart all day.
Boom. Chip Ganassi says, that's how we do it. The Sonsio Grand Prix here at Road America is over, and it's been won by the American Legion Honda driver for Chip Ganassi Racing, Alex Palou. He's done it again. He extends his championship lead. It's his 2nd win at this track, and he did it seemingly comfortably. Here comes the boss to say hello. Our Kevin Lee is there. Hey, Kev, it's time to say hello, Palou, yet again.
Win number 7 for Alex Palou. The boss, Chip Ganassi, is there to greet him in victory lane. You guys talked about Be the One, the program with the American Legion, and what a role this young Spaniard is on. 3 of the last 4, and the one he didn't win was the Indianapolis 500 when he, through no fault of his own, had to charge from the back and got it up to 4th. The championship lead is as big as it's been in 3+ years. 74 points is the current margin for Alex Palou over his teammate Marcus Ericsson. Climbing out to celebrate in Road America, America's National Park of Speed, welcomes Alex Palou to victory lane for the 2nd time here in Wisconsin. And the 10 crew will get to greet their young superstar first. And we'll greet him at the end of the line. Alex. There's Ricky Davis, longtime crew chief, team manager. We have marveled at your perseverance through whatever the situation is, and in this case it was a crash in practice to come back with a car that you really hadn't driven. How did you survive this weekend and get it back to victory lane?
It's been an amazing weekend, honestly. We started with a lot of speed. Big mistake by my part in practice too, but it was amazing. They had only an hour and a half to rebuild all the car. We went back on track and it was even better than on practice too. So I'm super happy. They gave me the pit stop that gave us the win as well. So yeah, cannot thank them enough. It was an amazing day for the number 10 American Legion Ganassi car, and we're gonna keep it going.
I'm gonna give you another chance to credit the team. There's Barry Wanzer, one of the team managers and the strategist. So you mentioned the quick pit stops. They not only had to repair your car, they had to prepare a backup for Scott Dixon. What do you make of what this team was able to do to get both of you guys up at the front? And Marcus wasn't too far behind Ericsson either.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing. Yesterday, honestly, it was a tough day for the team. They had to, as you said, rebuild not only my car but also Scott's one. We made it back on time for qualifying, and not only on time, but we were able to fight for qualifying. So amazing. As I said, we're gonna try and keep it rolling. We have an amazing team behind. So
Colton Herta had a pretty big gap. Did you know that he was a lap shorter on fuel? And take us through this last opportunity when you did get him for what turned out to be the winning pass.
Yeah, honestly, he was really quick on the first couple of laps on the blacks, and I thought I was not going to catch him. But anyway, I knew our tires were a bit slower on getting up to temperature, so we kept on pushing, kept on putting some pressure, and we finally made it happen.
You won a championship in your first year with the team. You were in the mix last year, but there was a lot going on. How much should the rest of the field look out this year, considering you're in your happy place, everything is good, you're focusing on what you need to focus on? How strongly do you feel that the championship is yours at this point?
Nothing, 0%, man. Honestly, it's IndyCar. Yeah, we had really good results so far. We are good on points so far, but IndyCar, you never know. You go to Mid-Ohio and you struggle on pace and somebody gets a roll, and yeah, they can have 3 or 4 wins in a row. So we're gonna keep on focus each race, Mid-Ohio next, and cannot wait for it.
Congratulations. Enjoy a weekend off.
I will, thank you.
Alex Palou in victory lane with Chip Ganassi Racing and Honda at Road America. Dylan.
Colton Herta dominated today, led 33 laps, ultimately slips to 5th at the end. That 1 lap early pit stop Was that the difference? And did you realize that you were going to have to save that much when you guys did come in a lap early?
It was unclear to me, like, how the race was going to play out at that point. It was hard to say what was going to happen with fuel numbers. I knew it was about 15 laps ago, and that's usually a pretty reasonable fuel number, but it ended up being quite a bit more. So it's a frustrating one. Like, we had the best car, and we were cruising the whole time. Like, I had so much more in it, and we just never really got to show it because we were always saving fuel, trying to go that lap later. So that's a killer. You know, we still got a 5th out of it, which is nice. Not what we want though, and so for that reason, it's pretty frustrating.
Yeah, to your point, you said earlier, you know, you guys have raced well this year. You've started deeper and gone forward. Today, it's the opposite. That makes this sting that much more, I'd imagine.
Yeah. But you know, when you're starting 14th, it's a lot easier to move forward than when you're starting first. So it does suck. You know, it's a top 5 in the end, which is nice points, but you know, the moment I could care less about it. So.
Thanks, Colton. Tough day for the 2016. They'll end up 5th today.
Well, it makes it tougher when you hear him articulate the situation they were in. He said he was cruising, and when you look at the board, we'll show you the points a little bit later. He's in the top 10 in points, but he's 141 back now.
Yeah, the point that I'm kind of confused about is he's right, a 15-lap stint. You know, it's long, but it's not crazy long. The amount it looked like he had to save seemed pretty dramatic. I almost wonder if they didn't get all the fuel in the car, and that's why that number kept changing.
I don't think so. I mean, the balance was perfect. He was basically driving at max pace. He had plenty of range to make it on that 3rd stint. I don't know what happened there, but I was surprised. I mean, you and I argued about it at the time, and the only thing to cover against is the yellow coming out, but the likelihood of that was pretty low as Michael Andretti tries to console his driver, and they're trying to figure it out. And there it is. Colton saying we should have just gone one more lap before that last stop. And that is a brutal, crushing result after an otherwise dominant weekend for Colton Herta and Andretti Autosport.
Well, look at that now. The margin goes from 51 to 74. Alex Palou over Marcus Ericsson. And the 3rd place, Joseph Newgarden, 81 points adrift of the championship leader. Let's hear from the Team Penske driver now.
They finished 2nd today, which is never fun, but a solid day for the points, as you said, nonetheless. So talk about your day and just some of the things you battled. I know you feel like you maybe had a shot or a car good enough, but just didn't have it at the end.
I mean, we definitely had a shot at the win today. You know, not at the end. I think Palou was just better than us on that final stint. So, you know, he did a great job. He's very deserving. I just, you know, in the middle of the race, definitely we had an opportunity. And I chose a lane on the restart when we had all the lap cars, not lap cars, but the off-cycle cars in front of us. And it was just I chose the wrong lane. I chose the wrong lane with Palou, and I lost a couple spots to Colton and Pato. And then that just kind of set us up for the end of the race. You know, we were playing catch up. So I felt like if I made a different choice there, maybe we had an opportunity for the win. But I mean, you know, I guess I'm happy to be disappointed with 2nd. This was a great recovery drive, I think, from our team. We rolled off really pretty bad. I mean, we were off the pace and not happy. This team went to work, did a great job with the PPG car and Team Chevy. So I got to be, you know, pretty pleased with 2nd. It's tough when you have an opportunity, I think, to win and you just don't seal the deal.
Yeah, given how good you've been here in the past, I mean, were you surprised at how different things were at the start of the weekend just with the new pavement?
Yes and no. I mean, we knew it was going to be drastically different to what it was in the past. I'm a big fan of, you know, old pavement tracks. I think that the team here has done a tremendous job. I mean, the track's really in great shape. It's super smooth. I think as a team, we got to be better on smooth surfaces. It seems like a weakness of ours right now. So we were certainly better on the old surface. We just got to figure out, you know, what's the ideal package here going forward. But we'll work on it. I believe in this team, and we'll figure it out.
2nd today for Joseph Newgarden. Kevin.
Back to victory lane as Chip Ganassi Racing continues to celebrate, and it's more than just a win today. It's 250 wins all across. So we're talking back in the day to kart and Champ Car, certainly IndyCar and the NASCAR success at all levels, ARCA, Grand Am, IMSA, the World Endurance Championship, Global Rallycross, Extreme E. That covers it. 250 wins and a team photo for Chip Ganassi Racing, getting it done in style here at Road America. And we're going to let them get one last shot, and then we're going to speak to the boss here, who not only celebrates a win, but 1st, 4th, and 6th, and 1, 2, and I think tied for 3rd or 4th in the championship. What a day this has been, and what a start to the season. What do you make, first of all, about what Alex Palou is continuing to do?
Well, the kid's just a phenomenal driver. It's obvious. You know, we saw that with his first championship. We saw that with his first race, if you recall, back in Alabama, you know, 2 years ago.
And you saw it when he was with Dale Coyne Racing, where he had some moments, but I'm not sure that anybody thought this young man is 6 months away from competing for a championship. What did you see back in the summer of 2020?
Yeah, I mean, kid has a lot of heart, has a lot of drive. He loved Indianapolis. That's a big thing in this series. You have to like the ovals. You got to like being around them. And he obviously liked Indy and took to that place pretty well. So we thought we'd give him a shot.
What does 250 mean to you? That's a big number.
It's a big number, and I mean that's just a testament. A lot of people have a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and money in those 250 wins. The great employees we have, the great partners we've had over the years that contributed to every one of those. It's just an incredible feat, and it's all about the team.
I want to speak also on one of your other drivers, Scott Dixon. That's a pretty impressive recovery from where he was to finish fourth.
Pretty damn impressive drive for Scott Dixon in the PNC car, no question.
Thank you, Chip. And speaking of Scott Dixon, Dylan's got him.
That's right, plus 19 today, 23rd to 4th. And you say it could have gone better. How could it have gone better than going plus 19, other than, I guess, getting to victory lane?
Yeah, we could have won. Obviously, you know, just one spot away from a podium, which would have been nice too. So, huge credit to the PNC Bank 9 crew and, you know, Honda as well. It was definitely a day where you needed drivability and, you know, trying to look after those Firestones, but, you know, also fuel mileage. So, yeah, it's got a little rough there on the back there a couple of times. Pit strategy kind of went the way it should have. You know, I think it would have helped us a lot maybe if they didn't, you know, wait for that Grosjean crash, and then, you know, they keep doing that, which would have, I think, benefited us a lot more. But congrats to the 10 car. Man, he's having a hell of a championship right now, and definitely a great lead there going on. So it's time to get to work and see if we can all start closing that gap. But congratulations to the team.
On a day where there was maybe some apprehension just about what we were going to see from the tires, how we were going to race offline, those kind of things for somebody that had to pass cars, did everything kind of go like you thought it would as you drove through the field, or were there some things that surprised you still?
It definitely spiced it up, I think. You know, especially offline was kind of rough. Even later in the race where you had to make some dives, you know, it'd take 2 or 3 corners for it to clean up and get going again. But it was also beneficial in the same, you know, aspect for myself if somebody went off in front. So it's, I think they did a great job here. You know, it was nice to have some pretty high grip back in an IndyCar. A lot of the circuits we go to now feel pretty low grip for us. But yeah, you know, the tires, I think, surprisingly went really well. I think a lot of people were having a bit of a downer on how the Reds were going to be, but they did a hell of a job. So yeah, it was good.
You had Pato in front of you there in third at the end, and we showed the Long Beach incident on our broadcast. Was there any thoughts of, if you got to him, how physical it was going to get?
That day will come. You know, we'll see. But, you know, I think that there's a time and place for it. You know, we were trying to get close. You know, he had more OT than us, and, you know, it is what it is. You know, we for the most part, we try to race as clean as possible, you know, depending on when it comes down to.
All right, good day for Scott Dixon. Started 23rd, finished 4th today, Kevin.
Pato O'Ward started second and finished third, but it was more than just that because you had to work to get there. Let's go back to the beginning of the race and everything going on, and then just how you made your way back to the podium.
Yeah, it was a hard-fought race for us. We were a bit of a ping pong in the beginning, getting hit in turn 1, then hit in turn 2. And then we got shuffled back, had to give a couple positions, and then I think we were sitting 9th or something, and then we just fought our way forward. There was really no other thing to do, and yeah, I'm happy with the result. It was a solid job by the team in the pits, and yeah, considering where we've ended the last couple of races, I think this was a really good job.
You had to be brought back. You ran out of fuel on the cool-down lap, is that right?
Yeah, I might have made it, but I might have not. It was just going to be more pain to get, you know, run out of fuel, maybe around over there in the kink or something. So I just stopped in turn 5, yeah.
So we talked before the race, and no pressure was your response and whether you really needed to bring one home. Now that you have brought one home and got maybe some momentum back, what does this do for the program as we move forward this season?
We've been fighting in the top 3 every single week, and there hasn't been one where we haven't. So I don't see that changing. I think we're going to still be in the fight. Obviously, this isn't ideal for all of us, including ourselves. in the championship. But you know, Alex and the Ganassi guys did a fantastic job today, and we need to be better.
We wondered how this would race with the new pavement today. So what's your assessment of what this racing is like here now?
I'm a big fan of this repave. It's been a joy to drive this track.
Thank you. Pato Award comes home with a podium. Dylan.
Let's catch up with Kyle Kirkwood, who finished 9th today, and that doesn't even begin to tell the story. You guys went to the back, and for the second race in a row, kind of had to scratch and claw to get through there. But how do you evaluate that, going to the back and still getting a top 10?
Yeah, I mean, the start was my fault, right? I had an amazing jump from P6, and I was like nearly passing for P3. And I don't know if I had loads more grip than everyone else. I didn't feel like I was too deep, but I ran into the back of Pato, so feel bad for him. I don't know if he lost any positions from it, but I spun myself out, cycled to the back. Obviously, the first car to go to the back, so we were literally dead last there for a little bit. But I was able to pass cars on track. It showed how good our number 27 AutoNation Honda was. And we had good strategy, good pit stops, and got us back up in the top 10. So we were happy with the top 10, and I was able to get off one more position there at the end. So we're happy with that, but I mean, just a kind of a dumb mistake in the beginning for me.
But you did move forward, as you said, and a lot of that was strategy. A lot of that was you just driving through the field. But what was the biggest key you felt like to allowing you guys to kind of keep moving forward?
Probably pace, to be honest. I mean, we had pace to do whatever we wanted to on both tires, I think. So, I mean, it just opens up the strategy whenever you have pace like that, because you can pit a lap early, pit a lap later, and you're probably going to make positions from it.
All right, that's Kyle Kirkwood. Solid top 10 today, but maybe could have been a little bit better.
Good stuff, Dylan and Kevin. Thank you very much for that. And from those 3 interviews, Dixon, O'Ward, and then Kirkwood, a lot of fresh honesty, open honesty. What are your thoughts?
Well, I thought Dixon and his fighting words continue with Pato Award. He simply said, yeah, this wasn't really the time. I was in a good point scoring position, but don't worry, he will suffer at a time to be determined by me down the road.
No, I think all 3 of those drivers had to deal with, you know, a lot throughout the day, and in their own ways, great comebacks from each and every one of them.
We're not done yet from Road America. Lots more post-race reaction as Esther and Alex Palou celebrate as he extends his championship lead with another victory.
It's the Honda Indy 200 from Mid-Ohio. Here we go.
Further back.
Now it spins.
Looks on your side, still there.
Hey now, multiple bits of contact.
Lots of cars off.
What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him?
Side by side through turn 5.
Great racing.
Oh, here we go.
I'm telling you, I'm going to punch him.
It's a first for McLaughlin at Mid-Ohio.
Yeah, let's go, boys. Woo!
Yes, if you like what you saw today, you can see it again in 2 weeks' time. Also on USA Network from Mid-Ohio, the Honda Indy Grand Prix. As the celebrations continue here in Wisconsin after the Sonsio Grand Prix, won by Alex Palou. There's a Honda flanked by 2 Chevrolet drivers with Joseph Newgarden and Pato O'Ward. And so after 8 of the 17 races this year, that's the way the points stand, and it is up there as far as historic in terms of being a whopping lead after just 8 of 17. So we'll continue to follow that story if Alex Palou can continue his domination. Let's hear from some more drivers.
If Alexander Rossi finishes 10th today, and after so much promise to the start of the weekend, I know this is not the finish that they ultimately wanted. So what were you guys battling today that that kind of led you to slip there at the end?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. You know, I think that the balance was pretty good. I think that I don't know. Like I feel like it's something to do with a straight line thing, but I haven't been able to look at data yet. We had to use a lot of overtake to try and like just keep position. And then at the end, like other cars had, you know, 50 seconds more than us. So with the straights here, that's really where we lost most of the spots in the final stint. But yeah, I mean, I think the car was good. So I don't have an answer, unfortunately. You know, I think throughout the whole weekend, their own McLaren team did an amazing job. You know, Team Chevy's been fantastic. Yeah, I think from the test here, you know, we carried a lot of potential into the weekend, and this is the first Sunday we've really struggled. So we'll look into it. It's not the end of the world. certainly we're going to have to find an answer for that that guy that keeps winning.
Well, and you told me at the start of this weekend, you guys normally do race well, so I think there was some optimism that even though qualifying didn't go like you wanted, that the race would be okay. So does that make this one a little more difficult to swallow, just given maybe some of the optimism that was at the start of the weekend?
Yeah, like I said, the balance was good. I felt like we were good. Compared to other cars, we just were getting overtaken a lot. So I don't know. I don't know if it was our trim level. I don't know if it was gearing. I don't know if they were just better in those corners than me. Like I said, we'll look into it and understand it. But all in all, we came to this weekend focusing on single lap pace. I think we've determined that we've got that sorted out now. We just got to blend Saturday and Sundays together.
All right, that's the goal for Alexander Rossi moving to Mid-Ohio. He finishes 10th today. Kevin?
We've heard from Scott Dixon. He's made it back to the Chip Ganassi Racing Transporter, talking with Marcus Ericsson about their day today, which was a very good one for Chip Ganassi Racing. So for you, from 9th to 6th, and you had some challenges listening to radio mid-race. So I'm going to guess, do you feel pretty good about where you ended up?
Yeah, I think it was a good result in the end. I think we had a ton of pace in that number 8 Husky Ice Spritz car. It was really fast all day, but unfortunately, we had a couple of problems in the pits today, which is unusual, but that's racing. So we lost a few spots there, and without that, I think a podium might have been on the cards, but that's racing. I think still P6, and Alex winning. It's a great day for us in the team.
And you put your trust into your engineer, Brad Goldberg, about trying something different. Mid-race there, you were the only one on the alternates, and I know you're wondering, can we make these last?
Yeah, Brad and Taylor and the rest of the 8 crew there did a great call to go on the Reds for stint 2, and they played out really well. So, yeah, strategy was spot on, and we were fast, and we were fighting. It was a lot of, pushing and wheel banging and fun out there, so it was a good day.
So in one sense, we'll look at the championship standings and see the big gap that your teammate Alex Palou has amassed. But the other side of that is you're still second. And I spoke about this on the broadcast, how you're probably not really looking at that too much this year about where the standings are at this point. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think, for me, leading the championship for a long time last year, I feel like I was looking a lot at the championship then and sort of racing the championship instead of every weekend. And that's something I wanted to do differently this year. So I'm trying to just take every weekend and try and maximize every weekend. And then, when we get to Laguna, we can, or the last couple of races, we can start, looking at the championship. So for sure, Alex has a big lead, but this is IndyCar, anything can happen. So we just have to keep our head down and keep working hard and maximizing every weekend.
I know you had last weekend off, but it still felt like we're just finishing up May. Is now this kind of the time to reset? We're basically at the midpoint of the season. Are we ready for the second half championship stretch now?
Yeah, I felt really exhausted after the month of May. Being the defending champion, it was a really tough month of May for me. I had my schedule was pretty crazy, and then we went straight to Detroit. So after Detroit, I was pretty tired. So I just took a week and just sort of switched off and relaxed for a week, and that really helped me recharge. And I felt like this for me is the start of the second part of the season here in Road America, and we're off to a pretty good one, so looking forward to the rest of it.
All top 10s for Marcus Ericsson, 6 today, second in the championship. You're dismissed. I know you're getting ready to hit the road, so Marcus Ericsson will take off, and he'll be replaced by Marcus Armstrong. What a start to this race. We'll get to, unfortunately, what happened later, but I want you to tell me how you went from 8th to 3rd at the beginning of this race.
I haven't thought about it yet. If my memory serves me right, I had a good launch and just sort of took my chances around the outside. If I remember well, someone broke too late in front of me, and I just sort of picked up the paces. So I was actually trying to be conservative. As you can probably remember, I sort of just crossed over Newgarden on the exit of turn 5. Again, I wasn't trying to do anything special, just try and pick up the pieces, and that's exactly what we did. And I think we picked up, 5 spots or something.
And then, unfortunately, running up front, a caution stopped. The rest of the field stopped. You did not. Have you kind of talked through the team about what the options were and why the decision was made and ultimately how it played out?
Yeah, it didn't work in our favor, unfortunately. It's one of those things as strategy. Being a strategist in IndyCar might be the most difficult job in motorsports. So, it's one of those things we're going to learn from. We're going to move forward and get the result next time.
And then I haven't seen it, but I heard it on the broadcast that you're a lap down after some more. Here, we'll see it for the first time. You're trying to stay out of the way of the leader at some point. Take me through this. So that's after an off, and then you get in this situation. How's that all going through, just making sure you're getting out of the way?
Yeah, it looks fairly sketchy there, but I knew he was coming. Someone told me on the radio that Alex was obviously leading the race and just to let him through, so that's exactly what I did. And yeah, it wasn't ideal to finish the race, but again, it's something that I'll look back on and learn on next time.
I know you're frustrated with the finish in 23rd, but you showed a lot of pace, and you continue to remind people of, yeah, this young man's got a lot of talent. He's going to be in victory lane soon. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you very much.
Over to Dylan.
Graham Rahal finishes 11th today, and I want to go back to the start of your day. I understand I was in here earlier, and you were on the table getting worked on a little bit. Did you have a stiff neck or something? Is that what you were struggling with?
Yeah, just old age, I suppose, but first off, happy Father's Day to everybody out there. It's a great place to be to enjoy it here in Road America. Missing my girls, but yeah, I mean, just in practice, went into 5, hit the brake, felt something pop in my back, just got a rib out there, had a little spasm, but we're able to get taken care of and get it better, get some tape on it. She's still pretty stiff right now, but take a couple days to get better, but we'll be fine.
How tough is that on a track that is faster now with the repave and everything else you guys are kind of dealing with? It's a physical racetrack.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. The outlap, you know, going out of the pits to do the parade and pace laps, I was not feeling good at all. You know, but in the end, adrenaline starts to take over. I'm feeling it right now for sure, but adrenaline takes over when you're in the car. Kind of get through the process of it. Every time a big brake zone would come, you'd get a quick reminder. But look, we had a solid day with the Fifth Third Bank car. Obviously, we felt that we had pace to be there in the top 6. We were ahead of Ericsson and Christian and a lot of those guys for a bit there, and I just had a terrible outlap on my last you know, stop there, and that's on me. And you know, certainly expect more, but you know, pretty solid recovery.
Yeah, and it has been, I'm sure, somewhat of an emotional, difficult week for this entire team. So to come here and put 2 cars in the top 11 effectively, I'd imagine that feels pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it's as I said, you know, the guys that are no longer with us are great guys, you know, and they're true gentlemen and high-class guys I've enjoyed working with. So I don't think that that's the magic bullet. But at the same time, you know, we have to make changes, and we've got to try to improve and really focus on, frankly, 2024 at this stage and finish 23 strong, learn as much as we can. I thought we learned some good stuff this weekend that hopefully will carry us forward as we go into Mid-Ohio, my home race, and expecting some great things there.
Positive weekend for Graham Rahal. Hope you get feeling better. He'll head to Mid-Ohio next week on the strength of an 11th place finish.
And Dylan, that's in the top 3 best finishes for him this year. So wish him well. Hope he's feeling better when he gets to his home race at Mid-Ohio. So here is Chip Ganassi Racing's race winner. You know the old saying, Chip loves winners. Well, he's got one here. Alex Palou, 3rd victory on the year. What a season it's been. Spoken.
I just had to execute.
But as soon as that helmet goes on, he goes to work in the most emphatic way.
Great drive, man.
The car's been amazing all weekend. We knew that we were going to fight for the win.
He is going to elevate himself to the leader of the IndyCar Series Championship.
What an amazing job.
This is tracking to be a monster 4-lap average for Alex Palou. They haven't even started the race yet, and look at how this team celebrates pole.
Is this starting to feel like your championship year, Alex?
No, not yet. It's too early. I mean...
He's like a surgeon, so precise, so methodical with every step.
Checker flag. Great job, man.
The Motor City says hello, hello. It's just a very Alex Palou kind of year. We take you to the Pennzoil moment of the race, and this is when the Spaniard grabbed the lead from Colton Herta. Turn 1, little wiggle, and then never look back.
And dicey on the high side for Alex Palou. You saw him working, trail braking in, steering the back of his car with his feet. Brilliant piece of driving, pumped up from the Be The One crew, American Legion, getting it done.
And he gave Colton Herta a lot of room as well. You know, he almost put himself at a bit of risk with what we've seen the outside of turn 1 and really every corner here today be like. But look at that gap, 74 points. Just incredible after 8 rounds.
You want to know how frantic today was?
Tell me.
There was in excess of 400 on-track passes up and down this 27-car field, and that's the most since 2016.
Well, I mean, it was awesome to watch. Like we said, there was no really ever a big breakaway. There was always kind of a train. Lots of drivers using the draft, using this new grip to great effect, and put on a heck of a show here.
Summer camp for race fans. They got themselves a good one today. Camping, brats, smiles, kids, everything you love about an American Midwest summer day in the Lake region here as Alex Palou all smiles with friends and family.
And a weekend off coming up before we head to Mid-Ohio. Quick thoughts on Mid-Ohio? Looking forward to it?
Absolutely. Cannot wait.
Hey, good luck at Watkins Glen next week in the Mazda MX-5 Cup. T-Bell.
Watch your tail, young man. Watch your tail.
So, another annual visit to Elkart Lake, Wisconsin and Road America. It was an eventful weekend, to say the least. Practice qualifying and, of course, the 55-lap Sonsio Grand Prix. It was so much fun, and we look forward to seeing you next time in the NTT IndyCar Series from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Thanks so much for watching IndyCar here on your home of motorsports. We say well done, Alex Palou. We'll see you soon.